Yeah, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Friday, April 12th. Welcome back. I just got back from watching Monkey Man. Was talking with Mediocre and Steven and some of the boys, and wanted to come on and share some thoughts about some movies, hang out, have a beer, have a smoke, and see what y'all are doing tonight, see what questions y'all have. Let me go ahead and get our first guest on here tonight, Mediocre Trader. Mediocre, what is going on, my man?
What's up, man? How's it going? How's the movie?
It was swell. Man, if you are wanting to see an action movie this weekend, what's his name? Dev Patel and Monkey Man, that thing is chock full of action, Mediocre.
That's good.
Dev Patel and Jordan Peele joint there. Monkey Man. There's a couple of other new movies out this weekend. I had a hard choice. There's a couple new ones that I really wanted to see. I guess I'll maybe try and fit one in tomorrow or Sunday. I'm pulling up the movie list here really quick. I still haven't seen Ghostbusters. It's not super high on my list, but if I can fit that one in, I will. I have not seen Kung Fu Panda, but there is a horror movie called Sting about spiders, and there's one with looks like Nicolas Cage called Arcadian. Yeah, Nicolas Cage. And I was gonna try and see one of those, but I wanted to get Monkey Man in the done before the theatrical window was over. If I miss Kung Fu Panda, I don't got kids that are young. If I miss Ghostbusters, not a big deal. If I can fit them in, I will, but it's just so many movies to see, and so little time.
Yeah. I hope we get more movies. I hope it's even harder. We need some movies, Tony.
It's going to be May gets better, and then June gets even better in terms of good movies and expected box office. So I don't think our April numbers for the box office are going to be super exciting. I'm not going to let that discourage me because I know that May and June are going to be better.
Hopefully stuff will overperform. That would be nice.
Let me see if I got any numbers on Civil War, if anything has been reported yet. We only have Thursday numbers posted, and no numbers for Civil War. So we'll see. I'm curious how that one does this weekend. I really liked it. I saw an acquaintance of mine, another AMC investor, went and saw it today. I won't name him on Twitter, but he's like, meh, it was okay. The chicken tendies were good. He liked the food better than the movie. But that's the funny thing about movies. Everybody has a different type of movie that they like, right?
Yeah.
Let me bring up the chat. Can someone drop a chat in and let us know that you're here? Even if it just put a exclamation point or thumbs up, say hello.
What's up, Steven?
There he is, Super Steven. What's going on, my friend? What's on your mind tonight, Mediocre, besides movies?
Oh God, I don't know. The wifey's at work, just hanging out, and hi Melissa. Hi Melissa. Just hanging out, waiting for the wife to get home from work.
I'm doing the same.
What's up, Spanky? J Dog. Just kind of reading the chat.
I've got about 1 hour till the hospital she works at. I think they wrap up tonight around 11. So
That's good.
So we got some time.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time to hang out. No, I was just thinking about. I was going over some stuff. More concerned about the overall market, Tony. It's looking a little rough, and some of the talk is not good.
That is a concern. All the indexes were down today. The Dow down 1.25%, S&P down 1.5%, NASDAQ down 1.6%. And supposedly Iran's going to attack Israel this weekend, adding a little bit of global instability into the mix. Just what we fucking need when we're holding a speculative play and trying to get a good entry is not this.
I'm super mad at myself because this morning I was in the Discord and I was talking with Gus. I forget who else was in there, but I was telling Gus, man, I had my SPY chart up, and I'm like, man, I really want to put some puts on this thing. It looks like it's going to go down to, 513, and I'm like, oh God,
You should have done it. Follow your gut.
Didn't do it, Tony. It pissed me off badly. I was so mad.
I do have puts on some other plays, not cash secured puts. I bought puts on some other tickers that were getting run up, and they expire this next Friday. I think I was up at the end of the day today 300% on one of them, and like 13 and 15% on the others. So on the one hand, I'd like a little more red for a couple days early next week, but I sure don't want it to affect AMC. So
that's the problem.
That is the problem.
It was not a nice day today, but I bought some more shares today because I'm a sucker, I guess.
What'd you buy at? Do you want to share? I bought some. I posted it in my video, even though I know I'm fairly certain we're not at the bottom.
You got a better entry than me, but I got 269. I'm okay with that. 269.
I got damn lucky, man. I was watching it all day, and when it hit 261, it was like blip, 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 blip. I was like, we still got an hour to go, and it could get run down the rest of the day. I was like, all right, I'm just going to buy a little bit. And for me, a little bit, guys, is at least 100. I don't usually buy less than 100. And, but I'm trying to keep all my cash in case the price keeps on dropping, but we don't know that it's going to keep on dropping. We just think that it will, right?
We're in an iffy zone right here. I don't like it.
You know how many plays mediocre where I'm waiting to catch something at the bottom and then I never catch it, and it zips up the next day. So if you're wondering why did I buy a little at 261, well, what if that's not the bottom? I got enough today that if it still keeps going lower next week, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to blame Adam Aaron. I knew the risk. You've seen my spreadsheets. I'm pretty sure it's going down, but what if it doesn't? So I grabbed a little, and if it goes down next week, I'll grab some more. Or, well, I don't know. We'll see what the overall market's doing. But it's always that calculation, right? Risk versus missing the bottom. What really just, I guess, kind of irks me is some of these other channels, especially some of the newer ones that have popped up, saying I'm dumping my whole paycheck into AMC today at 291. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you telling people? Come on, man. We're in the very beginning of a $250 million dilution. So I don't know. Just be smart, guys. Be smart out there. I want people to support the stock, but I don't want to see you get obliterated in 2 weeks either, over a period of 2 weeks.
Corax is in the chat.
Corax, I sent you a DM if you wanted to join. Let us know, and I'll send you over the link.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The overall market, there's a lot of stuff going on. So I'm not certain it's going to, just keep breaking down. But because I think that it's being held up, by our government probably. That's my thought. I don't know if it's true or not.
All right.
This one runs through my head.
Corax says he's free, so I'm going to send him the link. Guys, if you're new here, just a reminder, on our show, we try and have a balance of views. There could be some guests that you might not like what they say, and that's fine. I might not like what they say either, but we're trying to keep it an adult conversation where you don't see people screaming at each other, but you see people with different ideas, different approaches, and the ability to have some conversation without calling each other names and acting like emotional nitwits. Speaking of emotional nitwits, Mediocre, you were checking out Reddit today?
Yeah, I was.
And Twitter, and where else were you checking? StockTwits?
Oh God, it's bad. Oh yeah, I was on GME Meltdown, I think it was.
Oh boy. Hey Biggums, what's up? Biggums, you want me to throw you an invite? Come give the troops a little bit of Friday night good rally vibes.
I don't usually post to anybody who thinks that I post. I don't usually post because I'm not trying to stir the pot, to be honest, but some of the stuff I find is pretty funny. I'll just say that. There
is some comedy gold out there, I tell you what.
What's up, Biggums?
Dr. Z4 says, what's up with the market today? I think it had to do with the bank earnings. All right, I see Corax in the back room. Are you ready to go? Give me a wave or thumbs up. Corax. You ready to go? Give us a thumbs up, Corax, if you're good to go. All right, let's bring in a noisy Corax. How you doing, my friend? Welcome.
Not too bad. Not too bad. That Friday dump, the dump today really helped me out.
What were you playing this week?
Glad it helped you.
Yeah. I had reshorted Palantir. I was short. I finally closed the Aurora Cannabis short today and the Palantir one. And I also, on that huge absurd rally in Highcroft, I got in on that and closed it out today. So just quick sweeps.
I don't have shorts on anything, but I was telling Mediocre I have puts on several plays, but I'm holding them till Monday at least. So.
Still long TLT, still long Treasury, still long Kirk. But it's been a little bit painful because TLT slipped down to like the low 90s. Earlier this week, it was testing 89, bounced up out of there.
Blue Sky's got a question. Let me see if I'm trying to pop up the chat. Oh, I need to open up this other window. He says at 265, AMC is not going to get the $250 million that AMC needs. That is a good question, Blue Sky. According to our model, scenario 2, if it is correct, and they front loaded on the 28th and the 1st, a heavy percentage of the volume at those high prices, they will still be fine. It could go all the way down to 220 and they still would be able to get their 250 million.
There's several spreadsheets in our group, you guys. One of the spreadsheets has 260 as well, but it depends on how much they took off on day one and day two. We don't.
That is really the key. Like if we need to have had them sell a metric ton of shares on the 28th and 1st. And if they didn't, then they could come up a little bit short. Would they then do another dilution? Blue Sky's asking. I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends on how close they come to 250. Corax, I saw you did a video about G-Merica. Do you want to fill us in on that? And first of all, how long did it take to do that video? Because I'm still just a very amateur editor, but I could tell.
Not very long. Most of what took it was finding the clips themselves.
Oh, okay. Well, you're going to need to give me some clues offline of how you did that masking or whatever. I know you use a different program than I do, but
yeah,
that looked really good. Like the eerie mall music in the back.
Yeah.
And the way you had them looking at the paperwork. It was just, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I kind of, that's what I did. Originally, I wanted to have it like this goofball comedy music at first. And then I was like, no, considering that this video is all about empty promises people have made, I thought the empty mall with the eerie muzak playing in the background, it kind of, it plays more to the like emptiness of what's being said, because at the end of the day, they made all these hypothetical statements about what G-Merica could be, and they all ended up being a wash. And though in the video that I kind of blamed, at the end of the video, I kind of got to like two parties. It's like, first of all, these influencers shouldn't have been making, these probable things that like what they imagined it could be without any supporting evidence. But a lot of that comes from Ryan Cohen's leadership. He has not been very upfront with people in GameStop. He's not spoken with investors or anybody. And so that kind of also leads to leadership needs to step up and actually communicate a plan.
It's literally as bad as, and I want to talk about your video, but it kind of reminds me like if Ryan Cohen tweets a Sears sign, then these guys spend months creating all these theories of what it means. It's literally as bad as all of those influencers you had on your channel were without a doubt as bad as anybody in BBBY.
Oh, for sure.
Even though they all complain about them and call them ridiculous, all I heard was a fuck ton of ridiculous theories.
I also seen another video today, Corax, I think it was you and Scott Allen.
Yeah. I think at the end of his live stream, we actually were looking over the facility that they had just closed out, that distribution center and all the equipment there and how massive that was. They thought that was going to be their big money winning ticket to do online sales and all that stuff. And it just, we were floored with like how massive and how much they built this out, that like the facility they had could swallow the facility that I work out and do distribution out of for breakfast and still have room for more. And we were just floored with how they were gearing up for that. And then 2-3 years later.
Well, I mean, okay. So I'll say this to GameStop's credit. They ripped the Band-Aid off and closed it before it bled them out over the next 5 years.
Yes.
Right. So they made a gamble. They did the distribution center. They thought they had a plan. It clearly was not working out. And they made the tough choice to close the damn thing down. Let's give them some credit for that, at least, right? Management.
Yeah, for sure.
Management is doing a good job of saying, throw everything off the damn plane, cut costs. That's a good thing. They're not afraid to make tough decisions. Who made the original decision? I don't know. Is it the manager, the CEO before who we had in place now? I don't know, but who's ever in charge now made some tough calls, and I'll give them kudos for that. Can you just fill us in for anybody who's not following the G-America thing? So this was a trademark they filed when, in 2021?
Yeah. About, I want to say it was August of 21 is what the patent, the trademark filing said.
And we didn't really know what it was for, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody created theories.
And it ended up being just like an NFT kind of thing. And really, with this NFT stuff floating in a gray space, what I think happened was management decided, look, we really don't need to try and keep this trademark or try to pursue it. And, like the distribution stuff, it may have had something to do with the distribution stuff or something, but it may have been just one of those things that after they decided that, this is what it was going to be, they just let it go. And
the most important thing to remember, Corax, is this was not a failure. This was not a failure. This was a learning experience. That's how it's going to be spun, right?
Yeah.
But, not to bag on GameStop management. Again, they're ripping the Band-Aid off. They're getting focused on cutting cost and focusing on at least operating profitably. So we'll give them 100% props for that. To get me on board, and I'd love to be on board, I need to hear the plan. What are we trying next?
And as we've discussed here before, there's many of ways that they could go about doing it that I think would be successful and wouldn't be hard. Now you'd have to put some sort of capital investment, deploy that capital that they've got on their balance sheet, but they have the capital to do it. And I think that a turnaround is still possible for GameStop. They just have to execute on it.
I don't know if people actually realize that are invested in GameStop. When I hear them talking about the balance sheet and the cash, I don't know if they honestly realize that cash sitting there unused is actually penalizing them in Wall Street's eyes.
Yeah.
In terms of return on invested capital, it's weighing them down negatively in how they're being analyzed by analysts. And I might pull up some analyst reports and demonstrate this, because I see people focusing on two things. They're profitable with their couple pennies and they have cash, but again, no one except a YouTuber is analyzing GameStop on two metrics.
Yeah.
And that's
always the problem. And I don't want to make it sound like a single person. It's kind of a pervasive thing that people find their cherries that they want to pick, and you have to look at the full financial statements, everything, and take it as a whole company, because that's what it is.
I kind of gently nudged somebody in the AMC community today that posted on Twitter. AMC has 880 million in cash and the market cap 700 million.
Yeah,
how can that be?
Too.
This makes no sense. And I heard an AMC YouTuber saying the same thing this week. Guys, cash does not mean jack shit compared to market cap.
And I bet you were a lot more gentle than when I said it's almost like liabilities, like that loans are a liability on the balance sheet, and you have to take that into consideration too.
What I said to the AMC person on Twitter is cash is irrelevant. No one's looking at cash to market cap when the liabilities outweigh the assets, because cash is part of assets. Liabilities is way more. And if there's a BK, the cash is irrelevant. So we can't cherry pick our metrics. That's what I'm saying. Whether you're an AMC, GameStop, GTII, they cherry picked it. The CEO's on our side. He said he's on our side, but never mind. We don't want to talk about that zero revenue for the last 4 years. Yeah. You have to, guys, I want all of you to be looking at many different things and don't fall in the trap of just looking at one or two things.
And don't just look at one resource. Like I like looking at the financials, but it's sometimes hard just looking at Edgar to look at like stuff like dilution, because you have to go through all the filings. That's why I use like other third-party websites like Dilution Tracker. I think is a really useful tool for finding out what's down the pipe, what could screw you in the long term. What does the company have lined up to extract capital from you? If they need to, cool. And if it works out and the company gets better, cool. But you got a lot of these like scam shitco companies that have like 2 sets of warrants, a shelf offering, and 2 ATMs. And it's like, oof, maybe I want to stay away from that.
Yep. Yeah, I love
Well, you
dilution
won't even
tracker.
see that if you just. Most people don't even see that. You know that. They don't go looking for that. Dilution tracker costs money, guy.
I was
Well,
going to say
you can look at the like paying for it definitely gives you all the little intricate information, but I usually just look at it free. Like I'll put it in and just see these are the different offerings that they have, and that just gives me enough of a 40-foot overview to know that doesn't pass my smell test.
Yeah.
this one day we're going to have like here's everything that you need to look at. The problem is, even if we laid out the roadmap of everything you need to look at, 90% of people aren't going to do it. And that's why you're going to lose 90% of the time, because you're not putting in the work to fully understand these plays. There's
no free lunch, and you got to treat it almost like a second job if you want to be an active trader. And if you can't put in that work, well, VOO exists. You can just get the market average and
buy an index matching ETF. If you don't have the time to properly research these plays, you can still play the market with a index matching fund. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that strategy. Nothing at all.
You guys look too deeply into CPI this week?
I have not looked into it deeply. Did you talk about it on
I haven't talked about it. I was going to, but I had my thoughts heading into it that I had discussed off of stream and off of YouTube with a couple people, and said that, I bet this comes out like last CPI did, where it's going to look hot on the headline number, but if you go and look at it, it's going to be heavily weighted because of energy costs, and that's not actual inflation. That's just prices going up. And that's one of the big things you have to look out for when you're looking at CPI. CPI is exactly what it says on the tin. It's a consumer price index. Now, can that capture inflation? Yes, it can, because if all the different price sectors it's looking at are going up at a relatively by the same amount, you could say that that's inflation, because more money in the money supply, your money's worth less, everything costs more. So it can be used to track inflation, but you really got to get down into the nitty gritty and not just look at the headline number, or you'll get deceived into thinking it's inflation instead of prices in a certain area give an outsized push on CPI. And that's what it was for last month. You had oil go up, and it's still going up, and it probably still will go up for a bit. And it's going to make it look like it's inflation, when really it's just oil is putting an outsized pressure on CPI.
I'll try and get a CPI PPI video out this weekend if I have time.
PPI was pretty weak, and that I think shows what it is if oil keeps pushing up, it's going to break things, because we've already seen PPI starting to shrink because the cost to produce things is going up because oil's going up. And I have a feeling oil's going to rally to a point where it breaks something and come back down and pull everything down with it.
Mediocre, do you have any thoughts on Blue Sky's comment? Then it will catch magnetic resonance.
Which one? He's got a few of them.
The one up on the screen. GME is at the mercy of Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. Switch 2 will be announced this summer or fall. If they remove physical media, GME is in trouble.
I 100% agree with them. That's part of why I don't really have any money in it.
That's why I like we were discussing last time. I think they should clear out, like, physical media still makes up 50% of most stores that I've seen for GameStop, and they need to clear that out and find something else to put there, because that's just, people don't want to buy it anymore. It's much easier to just download and put it directly on the system and not have hard spinning discs or cartridges or whatever that may be.
Magnetic says, is Ryan Cohen not smart? Does he not really have a plan to generate more revenue? Or for some bizarre reason, is he not disclosing his plans? That's a good theoretical question, I guess. And probably everybody has their own different answer. I'm sure, if this was a GME based channel, the only answer would be, well, of course he has a plan. Of course. he has a secret plan. I don't know. But what I can tell you as somebody who doesn't care, but I would be willing to own GameStop if they have a plan. It's easier for me just to wait than to try and average down, especially in light of the current price relative to earnings. Because I'm not just betting on Ryan Cohen. I love Ryan Cohen. I think he did some great things at Chewy's, but I'm looking at many metrics in analyzing GameStop, and until a change is announced and what they're going to do, the overall picture of all the financials say that the price is likely headed far down from where it's at right now over a period of time.
I mean, I don't know. I like GameStop, but I don't know what's going to happen with it. It's got its problems. The problem is even if you give it, like Rockstar's got GTA 5, even if they got that, what other game can they get? And the thing is exactly what the Blue Sky said. Eventually, the companies aren't going to want to give that profits to GameStop, because that's ultimately what's happening when they allow them to have an exclusive release. So, when you could just, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo would just split the profits 3 ways.
I think it is inevitable at some point. Mediocre, you're fairly old, maybe not as old as me, but think of all the media that has gone away in my life.
Yeah.
8-track went away, cassettes went away,
good point, Tony.
CDs went away, VHS went away,
cassette tapes gone.
Yeah, everything is gone.
CDs? Where are CDs today, Tony? Gone.
I have a CD player in my PC. I don't have one fucking program that is loaded by a CD.
Wow.
I've never used it.
my most recent PC that I built doesn't have a spinning disk drive. Only has USB ports.
That's it. CD went to USB in that.
So I think it is ultimately just a matter of time before gaming is completely physical media free. So GameStop has time to figure it out, but the writing, I think, is on the wall.
Yeah.
But the good thing is they have many, many years of cash, it seems, and they have plenty of time. So I hope Ryan is sharpening his pencil and coming up with some great ideas with the team.
But Tony, what happens if he buys up all the shares? What happens to the shareholders?
You mean take the company private?
Yeah.
If he bought up all the shares, that would, in essence, be taking the company private, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens to the shareholder, though?
I mean, what's he willing to pay for all the shares?
Exactly.
The bigger question is, why aren't they buying their stock? If it's so undervalued, why is GameStop just not buying it hand over fist? GameStop, the company. Question. What do you think, Corex? Why aren't they doing that?
I think they still realize that there's a transition period and they're not ready to buy into the company until they know what direction they're going to take. And it's shown, at least the market may not know it yet, but they know it's going somewhere good. And
they want to keep that cash ready. So this is our more bullish thesis about GameStop. They have a plan and they need that cash for said plan. We just don't know what it is yet. And every time we talk about, well, this cash is weighing them down in Wall Street's eyes because it's not being properly utilized, we always talk about the other side of the argument. But what if they have a plan for that cash? You can't discount anything. Either one could be true, and only time is going to tell.
Yeah. So, Corex, I got another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you make of the execs buying shares this week?
For GameStop? I don't put a whole lot of weight on it. And I don't think it wasn't any of the execs, was it? It was, who was it?
Larry Cheng.
Yeah, Larry Cheng. Is he on the board or?
Yeah.
I'm not super familiar with GameStop. Okay.
He's on the board.
Then, I mean, it could be potentially good news. Maybe he sees something, but usually, one buy isn't outside, isn't kind of is just like, okay, they bought. If it was something that would be more bullish, you'd look for. There's a lot of people that are insiders doing it. Ryan Cohen is the CEO, and then Larry Chang, and then you've got some of the officers buying too. But if it's just him, then it's white noise.
There were people on daily countdown every day for the last week waiting for Form 4s to drop. And the only one we got was Larry Chang for 10,000 shares, which was kind of underwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe maybe there'll be some more next week. Mike V is going to join us. Mike, I sent you an invite on Twitter DM. Sorry, I don't have an intro ready for Mike. You need to DM me over the weekend, Mike, and let me know what you like. What's your hobbies? What are your interests? I'll get you a little intro set up. What else we got here? Stifler says, I sold all my Doge just under 20 cents. I'll buy back perhaps in the 15s, maybe 12s. Let me pull up some cryptos here and see where we're at.
Yeah, because they all bled out today that I saw. Bitcoin and Ethereum for sure. There was a lot of news that came out today.
I looked at it earlier. It was 67 and change. So now Bitcoin's 66.7, Ethereum 3,200, Doge at 17 cents. Let's look at the Doge chart.
Everything took a hit today, huh?
Everything.
Oh, yeah. Except for the dollar. Like even bonds rallied briefly and then rallied most of the day and then retraced and gave up a lot.
All right, we got Mike backstage. You ready to come on, Mike? How you doing, sir?
Live from Ethan's prison cell. Just
How's he holding up?
He's doing okay.
Okay.
He's made some new friends, some really, really good friends.
Oh man, have you, Korax? You're the one that's keeping tabs on all the lawsuits and shit going on.
Yeah.
Have you checked on that? I have not checked on any of that.
I have not seen any movement on any of the lawsuits to date so far. The only thing that's really moved is the Mullen lawsuit. Mark Bazile's little end around play failed, and so arbitration. Mullen will have to put that. I think it's $24 million.
Is that the one
escrow.
with Jim GEM?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, which was followed up quickly by an 8K saying that they were going to cease some of their operations and save $120 million or something like that, which does not sound particularly bullish to me. But I think that was their plan, was to stall having to give the money to Gem so they could pay back that one loan that they had.
The loan shark loan.
Yeah. And then they could, make what cuts they wanted to and put the money they needed to for Gem into the escrow. And it's not looking good.
I'm really worried about Mullen. I mean, I've only have a few minutes a week to check into it, but
Mm-hmm.
I saw a press release from them that said, hey, we're really cutting back OpEx to try and, stem the bleeding. I was like, well, how about you cut back the obnoxious amount you're bonusing yourself, Mr. Mishery. But
Yeah.
the other thing that I saw was a few updates on the Mullen Gym lawsuit. And then there's this weird thing of random retail people now
Getting vans.
Yeah.
One of them got asked on social media if they paid for the van or if it was gifted to them, and they did not respond to that comment. So we're just sitting here going, that seems interesting.
I mean, I'm not anti that strategy, right? I mean, they're demoing
As long
vans.
as you disclose it, yeah.
They're demoing vans to airline companies and other folks. What's wrong with demoing a van to a retail person as long as
I don't mind the demo and then them promoting it on social media, so long as they disclose that Mullen gave them the van.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't dodge that question. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal if they gave it.
It's not a big deal. Answer truthfully. It's not like if you were like you said, if you were demoing the van for them, okay, who cares? Just be honest.
I'd make my first video say, "Hey, I'm so excited. Mullen gave me a van to try out for 60 days, and I'm going to chronicle my thoughts."
Didn't you drive a Mullen?
When they were here, I drove every one of their vehicles. Yep, the Mullen 5, the Mullen van, the Bollinger trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Drove all of them. Some of them on the racetrack, mediocre.
Ooh, man, that was probably fun.
Woo! Yeah, it was the Mullen 5 on the racetrack. Actually, was kind of white knuckle driving.
Mm-hmm.
I was a passenger. They had a professional
I see.
driver, so he put it through its paces. Let's just say. At any rate, I have no problem with any of their vehicles. It's just the whole thing of getting sales going. That's all.
Yeah.
Mike, what's on your mind for him? How you feeling about this week? How you feeling about the dilution? What do you think's going to happen next week?
Oh, Tony, I've been looking through my spreadsheet every time AMC legs down. I wonder if I'm crazy or not. And I go back to all the numbers and I check all the 10Qs and 10Ks again and make sure I don't have a mistake in a spreadsheet or I'm missing something. But it doesn't seem that I have. So it is what it is.
What's your spreadsheet for like income statement quarterly, or which spreadsheet do you have?
So I got one where I've kind of I've taken all the 2023 margins, market share. I've modeled out the variable OPEX, all the gross margins on popcorn and everything. Look at, what AMC's earnings would be based on those 2023 numbers. And, as every time the price legs down, I look at it and then I have it spread out. So I apply different box offices to it and what that means in terms of tickets sold and what that is comparable to 2019. So I was looking at it again today, and the math is the math. The numbers are right.
Yeah,
So,
we've run multiple
Yeah.
models on different box office from 9, 10, 11, 12 billion.
Yeah.
And it gets really, really interesting as a bullish investor. The higher those numbers get, obviously, right? But if the numbers in 2025 or 2026, as long as AMC stays in business that long, it gets really interesting as far as the amount of income they can throw off. But that's the big if we all grapple with every day, right, Mike?
Yeah.
What is the number going to be?
Yeah. And, as far as I can see, when I look at the price as it stands now, like it's basically a bet that the next 20 years, AMC is going to throw a box office that doesn't surpass $10 billion. Like it's going to be stuck between 9.5 and 10. If you're thinking of earnings for the next 20 years, that's how they price an average stock. That idea seems crazy to me, and it still seems crazy to me.
I think if they can get over in 2025, if they can get 10 billion, they're going to skate through that year just fine. And then as we get into 2025, we'll start getting a better feel for what are some tangible numbers for 2026. And that's really where we have a decision to make. Like if they say the box office in 2026 is going to be even higher than 10 billion, then we feel pretty good, right?
If they say throwing off some numbers.
Well, they'll start throwing off some serious cash. But if they say 2026 box office is going to be stuck at 10, well, we just like GameStop, we don't want to be in a barely profitable business. So AMC is going to need to come to the table with some cuts or something.
Well, the thing that makes it really interesting is I always transfer the domestic box office to the number of tickets sold because ticket prices change, right? And so when you look at it like that, the average ticket price now is about $10.78 based on the latest numbers from the numbers.com. They do aggregate value of average ticket price. So when you're looking at an $11.5 million box office, that's only 85% of the 3-year pre-pandemic average of tickets sold. So you're still like looking at a pretty bearish box office, and it's throwing off some pretty good earnings once you start getting to those levels, right? So, I like a full recovery of box office would be like the stock's so undervalued, it doesn't make sense. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but it just, a full recovery of box office is almost 13.5 billion based on today's ticket prices, right?
The other thing that we can kind of hope for, I hate doing the hope speculation thing, but I think it's a reasonable expectation by the time we get to 2025, the debt will be less.
Yeah.
And
so
maybe the interest rates will be less. So we have less interest expense going into next year.
I'm hoping they do something.
And so all my numbers include basically that interest off what they're paying right now. Yeah.
So Mike, just between you and me, I'm not changing anything in my models. Yeah. I know that there are people modeling, oh, well, they're going to make $1 billion on popcorn at Publix, and they're going to make $2 billion on chocolate as Nestle and Hershey go out of business due to the price of cocoa. And we'll be the number one candy company in the United States. Guys, I'm not doing any of that crazy shit.
No, my model.
You think I'm joking, Forex? This is what is being said out there.
Am I gonna have to do another video?
Tony, but my model itself is based on 2023 alone. It doesn't account for any growth of popcorn, any growth of candy, any Visa card money, other than what the average was in 4 quarters of 2023.
I feel,
and just with that alone, without having to come up with some crazy $1 billion worth of popcorn sales, it's like I said, when I saw the price drop again today, I know it's only like 11 or 12 cents. I checked all my numbers again, and I'm like, am I crazy?
Why does the price?
What am I seeing that somebody else isn't seeing?
Why does the price drop in the midst of a dilution and a bearish day on the market make you want to feel like you need to check your numbers?
Well, because it's so undervalued.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. They're diluting, and they need the volume. Let's just say, Mike, have you watched any of my dilution videos?
Oh yeah, like I understand there's additional selling pressure. So if you're going,
but let's just say they're really incentivized to get it done by the end of this month, so they can report that. And if the volume's not there, they got to freaking drop the price that they're willing to sell at to spur us to cough up some cash.
Yeah, but the price is so marked down. Like there's so much risk.
But everybody's kind of like probably like me and mediocre. Like, are you buying today? I don't know. It could go down. Are you buying today? We're all sitting around like we'd love to buy it, but we also don't want to get ripped off if it goes down another 20 cents or 50 cents.
Yeah.
So,
well, but I just question it, right? Because guys who work on Wall Street and go through balance sheets as a career know more than me. Like, what the hell am I missing for this stock to be trading at this level? Like, are they that?
I see what you're saying. Like
they have to see an $11 billion.
I guess I see what you're saying. Like 265, 270 seems like pretty close to fair value. Like, how much freaking lower do you need to drive it before you're willing to buy as an institution? Yeah. That's what you're thinking, right?
Yeah.
I get that.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, once you start getting to 11.5 or a $12 billion box office, if you're trading at 20 times earnings with the existing float, you're looking at like $20. It's trading at 3, and that's an 85% box office recovery. That's pretty bearish take on it, and that's for a short period of time. So they're throwing off earnings and free cash flow. So some of that's going to debt, making the interest payments even less. So that means future year's earnings are even higher.
I see Nana Ape in the house. What's up, Nana Ape? She says, I still believe in AMC. Everyone, I don't know, but Corax believes in AMC. I would love to see.
I'm hopeful for you guys, but I'm going to sit on this side of the pool.
I'm okay with
you guys. Have fun
opinion.
building the slippy slide. If you get it working, I'll come over and join you.
I'm here until Corax buys.
Listen, Corax, as long as you're just sitting on the side of the pool, I'm good, right? At least you're at the pool.
I went to go see a movie today. I'm probably going to go see another 1 or 2 this weekend. I had a popcorn and a beer at the movie. I'm spending my money supporting my investment, your investment, but I'm also very focused on the risk, and I'm trying to take the most measured way of looking at this dilution that I can to not spend too much. Like I feel horrible when someone left a comment in one of my videos that they just spent $33,000 buying AMC at $470, and that was like probably right before the dilution. And
Nana Ape says, "I will keep buying, Tony. I will as well, Nana Ape."
I bought some today, Nana Ape.
I think at these prices,
yeah.
I think you have an outside risk to reward at these prices. Probably at prices.
Oh,
up until
and
10,
besides the ones that I
earlier.
bought today in cash, I had sold $3 puts. So I got assigned a fuck ton of shares today at $3. But I had a healthy premium on them, so I'm down a few cents between the
Nice.
premium I'm collecting on covered calls and the cash secured puts. I'm still okay if we stay in this range. I don't mind being down 10 cents or so. I'm going to be pretty pissed, or maybe have to reassess if we start heading to $2. But just like Mike says, like, at what point is it just like stupid for it to be that low?
So speaking of options and speaking of being stupid and a degenerate, I did send Tony a DM.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
I'm not a super big options pro. I sell some covered calls. I understand the thetas and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So looking at the prices at the way it were, I started looking into the options chain and I started looking at the leaps, the January 2026s. It's trading at 256. And so I ran onto Unusual Whales and I looked at the options profit calculator, and it was like a $3 option for like, it was and so I don't know what's a good deal or a bad deal in options. I don't trade them enough. I don't have enough experience. I understand.
I'll let you finish and then I'll help you
it.
with that a little bit.
Yeah. But for a $3 option, and of course it's about 2 years away, you're looking at 130% gain if the price is at like 433 by January 2026. So that to me seems like that's going to be after a year where you're probably looking at a $10 billion plus box office. Like, how could AMC still be trading at 265 after, you probably have 2 or 3 positive earnings quarters, if not a positive earnings year?
Are you familiar with this tool?
And especially if news of 2026 comes even better. So I was just wondering if you have some experts on your options. What's a good deal?
And it's funny that you sent me that question, because we started talking about that exact damn strategy today, Mike. So good timing.
You already had me.
Great minds,
even with how much you say you don't know, you already had me as far as like how I do option strategy, because you were already looking at the leaps. So
are you familiar
with learn about options is the fact that you tend to get better pricing on longer dated options.
Are you familiar with this tool?
I'm not a degenerate gambler. I don't pretend to know where the price is going to go next month. So I'm not into buying calls with 2-week expiries.
Yeah, that's a good rule.
That's a little bit crazy.
Drop this.
But when I'm starting to look at leaps at these prices, just out of the money, or even up to like $6, $7, $8, I'm starting to think, well, there's potential there. But like I said, I figured I'd talk to someone who is more knowledgeable on me about options in general and AMC's chain and the prices right now, to see if they thought it was a reasonable price what they're selling these options.
Are you familiar with this tool on Option Strat?
All
right, so I dropped it in the chat. I try and use this to model out anything, just to double check what I think, Mike. So, and this is a free tool. Now, they do have paid versions of it, but you can, for most basic trading, you can just use the free version. So we want to build a long call, and we type in our symbol up here, AMC. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. And we're going to select January 2026, right? And what strike were you looking at?
I was looking between 3 and 10, but let's say a $3
So
strike.
don't
January
click on January. Click on the 16th. See how you can select your date. What strike did you say?
Oh yeah. Let's go for a 3
All
or
right.
a 4.
So here the slider is where we pick our strike. So let's just say a $4. It's going to show you the approximate price of that leap right here, $93. If we go to the $3 strike, it's 117. So we're going to spend under $100 to pick up a January 2026 call with a $4 strike. Now you see what your payout is here, but it's all red because this is capped out right here on the left at $3. So we're going to shift the range to say, what if it goes over $4? What if it goes, I don't know. Let's just say I want to see everything between $4 and $8. Here is your gain percentage wise by month that you'd be looking at, Mike.
What's the gain at $8 by say the third quarter of 2025?
Third quarter would be July, August, September. $8 would be around 325%.
Like that's like is it that degenerate of a bet to think AMC is going to be at $8?
That's where you have a team of people where you bounce the idea off of and say, am I crazy to think it could get to $8?
I don't know if I would say $8, but even if not, you look down there at like 4 or 5, even if it got back to reasonable areas where it was, you're still looking at a pretty healthy return on those calls.
Yeah. So what we're doing, some of us,
and I will note that me looking at it here on Fidelity, whereas like the 2025 calls were showing still an IV in the 100s, as far as these calls, like the Jan 26 ones, they're all under $100. So you're getting pretty cheap options there with compared to the other parts of the options chain with a IV below 100.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we started.
So looking at $100 for a contract for a lead.
So this is what some of us are doing.
Out to 26.
We've got guys that are.
Hang on, let Mediocre jump in here.
Yeah, sure.
We got guys in our Discord who are doing exactly this, and we run a strategy called the Poor Man's Covered Call. You can look it up, and what that does is you sell weekly options against your long call, your leap option, and you generate income. That income helps you pay down what you paid for the option, so that you eventually, hopefully, you're hoping to get the option for free, and you're just sitting on profit. If you get exercised on, you just start all over. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
for me, like typically, I purchase shares, and like I said, my option strategy involves maybe selling a few covered calls here and there.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking was because usually on a monthly basis, I have allocation that I put towards my investments. So I have, my index funds that I buy every month, and then I have my allocation to my single stock. So AMC's one of the bigger ones that I kind of put in. And so what I was thinking now, with the price being so low, is doing maybe shares, but 10 or 20% of those funds to buy a couple calls every month, or depending how big that number is, depending how much savings I have for that month, splitting it up at a reasonable level. Like, so when you're doing investing, Mediocre, with say like shares and calls long term, what sort of ratio do you typically do to manage risk? Do you do like a 10, 20% to 80% shares, or do you invest like that?
It depends who's doing what. Like we got a guy, Rolf, who don't have any shares right now. That's all he has is long calls, but they're kind of expensive. We were having a conversation about it the other day. The IV is so high, it makes them expensive. So
you want to get IV is the biggest component to price.
What was that?
IV is the biggest component to the price of the option. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So the IV on the long calls right now you find is high?
No, what I'm saying is in general, anything above 100% implied volatility is you're paying a pretty hefty premium to get in on the action. So
Okay.
like this
So we're
90
looking at
and
like
80%
100% or
is
less.
still high, but it's not terrible considering AMC's general volatility.
Yeah. What does it say on
Yeah.
Fidelity is the historical IV Forex?
Let me see if I can find
Because
that.
88% seems pretty low to me.
Because I
Yeah.
was
For
I
AMC.
was
Oh yeah, I
looking at
remember.
doing
I
the
remember
same
the
thing
Let
I
IVs
me
just
being up
get
discussed.
to
Fidelity,
back in the day.
Fidelity's Pro Trader tools and see if I can pull that up because I don't think I can do that from the browser. So
Mike, I
I'll
was
get
looking at the same trade, right? But I chose not to do it because the IV was too high and I couldn't pay the option off in enough time with the poor man's cover call method, right? Like I didn't have
Yeah. And so for me, I was just going to do it with cash, but rather than just kind of do my allotment of shares, I was going to, take a percentage of that cash and be like, well, I'm going to do some long dated calls because basically it's more of a leverage bet, right?
yeah. I mean, I
On the downside, if AMC is still $2 by
I like to hedge
by
my
January
position.
2026,
Basically, that's all I could say. I like to protect my money the best I can.
Yeah.
As I was talking with the guys today and thinking about this, clearly with shares, you don't have to worry about the theta burn. You could hold them for a couple years if it took AMC till 2027. And the fact that it's a January leap, January 2026, what if 2025 is just meh? And it's not enough to, what if it's not enough to push the price up where we want it? But I think, if AMC is done with dilution, that's really what you should be asking yourself. Before you buy an option, you better be damn sure they're done with dilution for this year.
Yeah. So we've had discussions about this, and I was obviously wrong last time. I was more on the fence. I was like, I wasn't quite sure if they needed some more dilution to get through the year because I thought their cash position was good enough based on, on the spreadsheets I made and the 2024 slate. Even though it wasn't great, I was like, oh, they'll end up with 400 or 500 million by the end of the year. Obviously, I was wrong on that one, but now with this another 250 million, I'm more than on the fence. If there is another dilution, unless some of the quarters this year are just god awful, I would be shocked.
We were actually having this very discussion before the live stream because Mike, I also think another dilution, and I could be wrong, but I think it's a very low probability event unless it's something to do with the debt restructuring. There is the possibility that part of the restructuring could be include a dilutive component, right?
Yeah. We want $1 billion of cash on hand or something.
Or
before we
just what if we'll give you a lower interest rate, but we want some convertible shares.
Yeah, we want 100 million shares
just a straight debt for equity exchange. I mean, I don't know.
That is a good chance of happening.
Yeah, I posted in my Discord yesterday. I would give it about, I think I said 60% probability that there'll be a dilutive component to the debt restriction. I don't know.
With that being said, so if the box office does perform as we expect it to be, it becomes pretty solid in 2025 and 2026. Even with a float, even if they diluted the remaining shares, even with a float of 550 million shares, if the box office is recovering to your 11, your 11.5, $2 based on historical price to earnings ratios is still massively undervalued compared to trading at, say,
I don't disagree as long as there's minimal additional dilution and the box office goes according to like how you and I think it's going to go, Mike. I think you might be slightly more bullish than me, but I think that next year is going to be much better than this year. And I'm hearing 2026 is going to be good. Yeah. So I lean on the positive side. That's why I'm gambling in this stock. I'm not a negative Nelly like some of the emotional people out there on social media. You know that, Mike. I'm mostly positive about what's going to happen. I'm more worried about what the company is forced to do based on timing. So, and that unfortunately we're not in control of. So that's where we roll the dice and we make our best educated guess.
So looking at the IV index, and it's showing at the 3 and the 4 strike an IV of 98 and 94. looking at the average IV at that same days to expiry, it's been floating pretty consistently, just a tad over 100, like 100.55 or 102, in about that range.
So this is a
these
relatively good
Yeah.
time to buy IV wise if it's around 88, 90%.
Yeah, it's not like before GameStop earnings where I sold some covered calls and made a little bit of cash back there.
So to bring all this home, what I said in our conversation with my folks in the Discord earlier today when we were talking about this topic, and it's funny that you asked me later, Mike, is I would be very interested in doing this play, a 2026 leap, when I think they're within a day or two of being done with the dilution. That makes sense?
Yeah, just so the stock price is at the lowest, so you get your best
Right,
price for the strike, right? Yeah.
And
Well, yeah, imagine you can get a $2 contract for $105 or something because the price dips to
Right.
180 or something
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it
right?
almost
Yeah,
becomes
shit.
stupidly a no-brainer. And then you're counting on the
Yeah.
company not doing any more dilution and the box office improving. But I think, you know, for the
Yeah.
gamblers like us that like to, and I don't put a ton of money in options like this. I'll buy a few contracts, but not like $10,000 worth. You know, I'm not betting the farm on a
No,
leap.
no. Okay. No, that's good to know.
It's
Just
a
some questions.
it's a
from
way to
guys who
juice up.
maybe traded options.
If you are correct, it's a way to juice up your returns versus
And with
buying
the-
shares.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. Like I said, I saw the price drop a bit, and I went through my numbers, and I'm like, you know, my numbers are right, and my thesis hasn't changed. You know, I don't think the box office is going to level off at $9.5 billion for the next 10 years. So I was thinking, yeah, a small allocation of the money that I'm already putting into ASC into some long dated leaps and kind of average into those as well over the next 5 or 6 months if the prices stay in this low. Might not be a bad idea.
Let's take
And
Nana.
with
Did you have
just
something
to finish
correct?
it off, yeah, and even then, with if you're taking like the Jan 2026, your theta is not going to be that much of a theta burn. You can sit there and wait for it to develop too. So all good in busy town.
Let's
If
take
you're confident enough on it. Mhm.
let's take Nana Ape's question on Hycroft. I will answer your
Oh,
question.
it's time for me to go get a drink.
No. I was going to let you go first, and then you go get a drink. So I just want to preface this, Nana, by saying I've done a lot of coverage on Hycroft, as you guys probably know, or maybe you don't know if you don't watch my channel. About once a quarter, I go through their financials and where they're at on their plan. Sometime later this year, they're telling us they're going to publish their pre-feasibility study, which will be 100+ pages, I expect. It'll be very detailed. I can't wait to see it. Hycroft, I think, has been going up along with the price of gold, but gold started coming down today. So what I've been telling folks over the last two weeks is I think Hycroft is running up with gold, and you should take profits before gold turns on you. And it turned on us today. It turned on us big time. On top of that, though, the huge push up in Hycroft seemed unreasonably.
Yeah.
It's an unreasonable push up relative to the price of gold. So I think there was some FOMO component, maybe some options stuff going on in there. And so, Nana, my thought was I'd be taking profits if I owned Hycroft as it was pushing up to 450, but I didn't own Hycroft. And I took a gamble yesterday as it was peaking, and I bought puts. Now,
Yep.
because it seemed overdone. The push up seemed overdone to me. Just being real, just that I can tell when a play is being over pushed by retail. And I think Corax and we have not talked about this, but I heard him say earlier that he shorted Hycroft.
Yeah.
Corax, tell me your thesis, because I think you saw the same thing, but you did a different you took it a different way.
Well, I took one. I didn't have a lot of cash handy, so I took one put contract, and the rest was in short. But that was just based on what I had in my funds to do it. But I saw the same thing you did. I thought it got way overstretched. I understood why it ran up on gold. A lot of these junior miners are basically, until they get an actual gold mining operation going, they're basically like leveraged plays on gold, more or less. So
Right.
I understood where some of the run up came from, but like you said, it got overstretched. I think you're going to see more things like this, because people have it in their head that gold is an inflation play, and it's more of a, how to best explain it, more of a monetary instability play. I have a really old video on my channel about it. I'm sure if you searched for gold on my channel, you could find it. But because you're seeing a lot of illiquidity in the dollar, DXY is going up, gold is being used as a substitute to facilitate international trade. So you're going to see, until we see these rate cuts happen or loosening of the monetary system, you're going to see gold continue to go up. And of course, it's going to have these moves down if it gets too outsized. So if you, and I really feel dirty saying this, if you want to play it as a trader, I would not hate you if you were playing Highcroft, but I would have some pretty tight stops, because
Right.
it's going to knife on you hard.
And I think we can all agree that there's a chance gold could keep running right over the rest of this year. There's certainly a solid chance it could keep pushing up.
Yeah.
It's just that Highcroft got too stretched relative to the run up in gold. So I tried to exit half my position at the market close today. I was up 300% on those puts.
Jeez.
Which is not bad for a 1-day trade. And I was going to take half of it off the table, but I couldn't get a fill. So, oh, wait.
Yeah,
No,
that's the
sorry,
one
that was a
thing.
different trade. That was a different company I bought puts on. I'm not up 300% on Highcroft. It was less.
I got 45% when
I
I
have
closed
looked
them, I'm
at the
pretty sure,
Highcroft,
my one put.
I have looked at the Highcroft options chain, and the problem with that is it's very
Yes.
illiquid. There's not a lot of open interest on
That's why I
many
mostly
of
went short
many
instead
of the
of
Highcroft
puts.
contracts.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was in the green on Highcroft, but I don't remember the percentage. It wasn't anything super fantastic.
I
yet.
know when I entered, the contracts were 30 cents, and I exited at 50. And that was just the one contract I had. So I made like a 45% profit. So it's probably, if you got the 1 week contract, that's probably about where you were at.
I got what was your gain?
About 45%.
Let me see if I can find my trade, because it's faster for me to pull it up in Discord where I post them than it is to log into my
broker and look for it.
I bought the $3 puts. So I would like to be out of that trade on probably Monday morning. We'll see. And I don't ever.
You got the 3s. I got the 4s is what I had grabbed.
Yeah. So I'm in the green because look at that huge push down. But if gold runs again next week, that's going to get wiped away. So
that's the main reason why I closed all of my positions tonight before close, is because with how bad the market bled out and everything just bled out, I'm just like, there's got to be a bounce coming Monday.
Yeah, and you have much higher risk being short than I do with the put. Like my risk is fixed. Whatever
I tried to encourage you, Tony. I said I tried to encourage you
to take the gain on Highcroft.
Take the profit. Yeah. I wanted you to get out and re-enter next week.
The other one where I was up 300% that I tried to exit today was actually Finger Motion. I bought at this around 390, 380. I bought put.
Nice.
And they were fucking 6 cents Corex.
Jeez.
And they were at 25.
Maybe that's an options chain I should get involved in.
They were at 25 cents today at 304, 307. So that was a 300% gain?
Yeah.
If it pushes down to 270, I'm going to make 400% on this trade.
Jeez.
In 2 days, 3 days. So I look for trades where I know retail is heavily involved, and I will play both sides. If I can catch it at the bottom, I'll buy calls and support the play up. But when I see it getting overextended like this, then I'll exit and take the other side. I don't short stock, so I'll just throw a little bit of money
My
at it.
big problem is I'm not so in the weeds where you are, where by the time I'm hearing about it from someone, it's already like starting to crest on that plateau. I'm like, well, the only thing to do is ride it down on the roller coaster.
We were looking at this, like, look at the, this is the, where's the 200? Oh, the 200's way up here. It's likely to bounce somewhere around 270.
Yeah.
To have some good support. So I want to be out. If it keeps going down on Monday, I want to be out at about 270. And if it doesn't, oh well. You know, I'll have plenty of green to get out.
I really would like a bounce on Monday, because I think it would give me a good position to get back in, since I'm doing the sort of overnight FFR versus cost to borrow arbitrage that I talked about last time I was on here. And that's been kind of nice to game that system.
To kind of wrap up Nana's question about what do I think about Highcroft, it's too early for me to say, to be honest. It's too early. We need to see the pre-feasibility study. The higher gold prices go, Nana, the better Highcroft looks as a play, because it becomes, the higher gold goes and silver, the more economically viable their project becomes, which makes it more of a slam dunk for them to start back up mining or to sell the company to someone. So for all of the people that are putting all this hate on Highcroft, I would say you might want to just zip it until we see the pre-feasibility study, see the timeline for them to get back into mining, and see where gold and silver is, because it's a coin toss right now. It could end up really well, or it could end up being a fiasco. I can't tell you.
Yeah,
but
it's a junior miner. There's people who know what they're doing that are running it. They obviously have some drill results that look promising, but it's a junior miner. And
it has risk.
It turned out very well.
It has risk. That's why I'm not in it. But I have played Highcroft on and off over the past couple of years. But currently I own none. And we're getting closer and closer to a point where we'll know. And I tell you what, if the results are really good on that pre-feasibility study, and they'll publish a return, internal rate of return. They'll publish all the financials. You could see it pop really quick. And if the results are not so good, you could see it fall. So I just can't tell you. They don't tell me those numbers. I would love to see it succeed. I'd love to see it get back over $10 for AMC to make some money on their play.
That's all I care about, Tony. When it comes to that money.
It does get an obscene amount of.
I just want AMC to get its money back.
You know, it is a speculative junior miner. There is mineralization there, but
it gets a lot of hate because the same people
on this panel or anybody around
the same people that hate Adam Aaron want Highcroft to fail. I don't think that that's being fair. It's too early to say if it will fail or be a success, honestly.
But you think that was a good use of it? That 25 million?
What 25 million's nothing.
I don't mind.
25 million's nothing.
Yeah.
If they make 100,
that's been my opinion.
It is a gamble. I understand people being upset about that, but I would hope, and I don't know, were they bailing a buddy out? Maybe. But I would hope that they would not put themselves in such a precarious position to be accused of something like that. I would hope that they have some reasonable expectation that they are going to make a return on this. Am I being too kind?
My opinion?
No, well, but they took
They
risk.
took risk.
And I think that the biggest debate about Highcroft is whether AMC in its position should take speculative
Not even that,
risk.
Mike.
But it was a very small dollar value.
Here's my problem,
So for me,
Tony.
like
That's
I said,
not the
it
that's
doesn't
not the
bother me
question
too
that
much.
these people are asking, and I think that what they're asking is valid. Was he bailing out a friend because Highcroft was about to
Oh,
go
yeah,
bankrupt? I don't know. That's the question, and that question will remain unanswered, and until we see if Highcroft mines again and AMC gets out at a profit.
I'll just say this, Tony. I'm not happy with our position in HYMC, but when I say our position, I'm talking about AMC's position in Highcroft. Like, I'm not a fan of that position because we're going to get diluted on top of it. Hopefully we make money, but there's no guarantee we're going to make anything.
Hopefully we answered your question, Nana. I wish I had a firm answer for you. I don't know what the ultimate story is going to be for Highcroft. Super Steven wants that.
When it comes down to it, it's going to be a hindsight thing. If Highcroft makes money for AMC, Adam Aaron's going to look like a genius, and if Highcroft loses them $25 million, everyone's going to call him an idiot. It's going to well, people already do it already, but it'll be a hindsight judgment that people make.
That's why I
else.
think anybody who's making a judgment either is overly bullish about Highcroft or overly negative. I'm saying you're way too early to make a judgment because we don't know. We do know, as Mike said, they got a ton of mineral under the ground. We don't know if they can economically get it out. But man, the higher gold and silver go, the better it looks. That's what I know. Right, Mike?
And I'd say that the Fed is holding
100%.
rates.
That's very fair and reasonable.
And I'd say the Fed's holding rates at the end of this year, so I could see gold going up a bit further from where it is right now.
Steven wants to talk about a 13D. Steven, why don't you come in and talk to us, bro? You don't have to go on camera if you're wearing your pajamas. Just come on voice. Tell us about your 13D idea.
We don't care if you're sitting in your underwear, you weirdo.
Yeah, just don't turn on the camera and subject us to it.
Come on, Steven. Let's talk about it.
I want to see it.
Everybody's dying to know, what is he talking about? A 13D.
What's with the 13D?
What is it, Steven? Come explain it. Share your DD with the family, Steven. We want to hear some good news.
So while they're coaxing him, I wanted to point something out to you, Mike. I don't know if you were listening on the couple streams I was here with Tony about the cost to borrow versus the federal funds rate arbitrage and why there might be people just setting an AMC to run that. But since the federal funds rate is setting over 5% at 5.25%, you can get a basically cash sweep on your money market. At least for me at Fidelity for 4.95. Current cost to borrow I'm seeing on IBKR for AMC is 1.55%. So the difference between that, you can just set on AMC. And so long as it doesn't move that 3% against you, you're getting basically free leverage and just collect that. So it might be that people know that AMC is going to be flat to down. So I'm just going to set an AMC, collect my free leverage on the federal funds rate, and just, if AMC moves upward, I'll get the hell out of the way. But right now I'm just making free money.
Joseph is asking, do I put my plays in Discord so we can do the same? I don't want you guys copying my trades. My Discord is not a calling out plays Discord. Let's just be very clear. But we talk about a lot of different plays, and I'll tell you exactly how it goes down, Joseph. As I'm looking at new tickers, or as our group is looking at new tickers, I will mention them in the Discord with a positive and a negative, and so that you can do your own due diligence if you would like. And in the VIP part of the Discord, which I would not recommend to anyone unless you're an active trader, I do post all of my trades. Now, I might hint about it in the regular Discord, but I'm not going to tell you I'm buying something, because I don't want to be influencing people. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing in regular Discord. That is to protect everybody and not have you all just blindly copying me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because then it only takes one trade to destroy the whole group.
Yeah, and some of the stuff I'm doing is speculative. And the guys that are in VIP will tell you, I put in capital letters, this is a fucking speculative trade. If it doesn't work out,
Yeah.
I'm going to lose all my money. I'm
That's-
very upfront on what I'm doing.
That's why, like, when I'm on Tony's channel or I'm doing my videos, I'll disclose that I have a short position, but I usually don't go out of my way to tell those positions because I'm in a position where I have a job where I can micromanage those things, and they're very risky. You're dealing with a margin leverage account. It's not something that novices should be tinkering around with because it like Tony has said before, it can get you blown up real fast.
And, if it's speculative, you can bet that I'm not putting a ton of money in it. Like the more speculative
100%.
it is, the smaller my position that I'm taking. You want the bulk of your investments in, legit profitable companies. If I'm betting a put on Finger, if I lose all that money, I will lose 0 sleep because I can make it back tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if I can make 300 or 400% in a week, that's just juicing my overall returns for the week.
Yeah. That's basically all I'm doing with these shorts. I'm collecting little wins so I can go buy more TLT or more Kirk, one of the two. Mostly TLT.
Nana says, Steven, come on and let us know. Come on live and tell us if you're still positive AMC.
JG Lee, I like your comment. I somewhat agree with you.
Is this the one?
Yeah.
AMC survived the scamdemic, but then got hit with the woke Disney and the freaking Hollywood strike on top of that. Disney changed direction and put out non-woke movies. AMC will have to sell stocks dilute because they can't sell movie tickets.
Yeah, JG, you forgot the strike that hurt us too. But those are all factors as well.
Yeah, I mean, we are held hostage. We're held hostage by fucking Hollywood. That pisses me off.
I will agree with Blue Sky that I think we're going to see
and you know what?
unemployment rate go up, mostly because a lot of the unemployment that we've seen has been mostly in the tech sector, and a lot of those people have severance, and so you don't show up on employment rolls until you roll off of severance. So that's why we haven't really seen unemployment tick up, because there's a lot of people that are sitting on the sidelines. They're getting paid for being let go. And until they run out of severance money, they're not going to show up on unemployment rolls.
Yeah, and just going back to JG's comment too about woke movies, like I think Hollywood obviously leans very liberal. So you're going to get a lot of your movies are going to lean that way. But the one good thing about movie theaters is they don't have a board sitting there moderating content. So as much as they put out every Disney movie out there, they put out every Angel Studios movie out there, who people say generally leans more on the other side, right? So it's kind of one of the places that still puts out all the content, no matter where it comes from. They just want the content.
And even
so I find that's a lot better than Netflix and some of the big major
where you get a paycheck
flat
every month and then just make.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the best way to keep Hollywood honest, even if they are liberal, the thing that lean more liberal, the thing that always speaks is money, and you can always vote with your cash, and they'll get the message real fast.
Yeah. That's kind of like my long-term,
go see Kevin Costner's Western this summer rather than seeing the latest Disney
Western
movie.
You say
vote with your
that's
cash.
my
Yeah, he's got a 2-part Western.
that's where I have faith in
Western
Hollywood that eventually at some point capitalism is going to take over this bullshit that they're doing right now. They can only lose money for so long before they're forced to do some change.
Yeah, and for how woke Disney can be, they still make good movies. Like Deadpool's coming out, I'm gonna love that. I like the Indiana Jones, even though some people hated it. That was very nostalgic for me. But I do get some of the superhero movies. I'm a bit of a nerd that they came out with last year were definitely not my cup of tea.
Same here. Same here.
MCU. I loved Infinity War. I loved all those movies. They were great, and I think it was a little bit too much, and they're rethinking their strategy. There's a reason why a whole bunch of movies haven't come out for a while. There's a reason they paused on Star Wars, because they fucked up that franchise and they caused so much stress in the fandom. So hopefully they learn their lesson and they come up with a more balanced
and hopefully
approach.
more new IPs.
Because like every corporation, Disney loves money more than they love politics. So we'll see what they come up with next. Deadpool's looking. I'll definitely be going.
I'm hoping they take some more risks too, because as much as I like me some Star Wars or some of these superhero movies, it'd be nice if we got some fresh content into the stream.
That is my biggest complaint, man. The thing that I hate the most is seeing XYZ movie number 4. Like, get some freaking original ideas.
If you hate that,
but the thing that drives me nuts about that one is like, so those movies make
I know money. They make money,
and those movies they support smaller movies. A24 puts out like 10, 12 movies a year, very original movies, and they're very good, and they're smaller budget. Like I saw that Iron Claw with Zac Efron, a story about the wrestling family. That movie was unbelievable. Didn't make big box office money, but those individual movies and those original screenplays, they're out there. They're definitely out there, but they just don't have the advertising budget like Deadpool does or like these other ones. But you need those big franchises. I want to see John Wick blow some more guys' heads off. I'll pay my money to do that, and that supports the smaller movies getting made. So I think there is a balance there. I think it gets to the point where you are right, where they do.
I don't know.
Too many sequels because they're too scared to take a risk here and there, but those big budget franchises do support.
There are some, Mike, like I don't know why I can watch a bunch of John Wicks and still be okay with it, but some of them are really irritating to me. Some of these repeat, rinse and repeat, easy layup movies.
Yeah, just glad you're
so
not.
How is Civil
like,
War,
what is
by
it,
the way?
Final Fantasy 17 now?
That this week, and I've heard all sorts of great stuff about it. Did you enjoy
Which one?
Tony? Civil War.
Oh, I saw it on Monday in IMAX. I was saying earlier there was another big AMC supporter on Twitter that went to see it yesterday, I think, last night, and he said he wasn't that thrilled with it, but the chicken tenders were good. I really enjoyed it, Mike. It was original.
Yeah.
The whole cinematography was excellent. It wasn't overly politicized, which and the biggest concern I had going into watching that movie was, why the hell are all the leads female in a war movie? And this is probably not going to live up to my expectations. They're freaking reporters, and it's about a civil war. But what I realized after I watched the movie is, by observing the Civil War through the eyes of the reporters, who are ostensibly neutral, it allowed you to see both parties, both sides, through a neutral lens, and just be an observer to how it was affecting the country, how it was affecting individuals in different states, how it was affecting the government and the military. So it ended up being okay, and the actors did a phenomenal job, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's what I heard. It was very controversial, but it sounds like one that would be very interesting to watch.
Tony, a lot of great actors. Before it gets too late, to Dana, our friend Dana.
How's she doing?
I don't know. I haven't heard nothing from her since this morning, but we just want to say we wish you well. Hope you're doing well.
We love you, Dana. We hope you're feeling better. We hope things are going well.
That's it. That's good. Thank you.
So, Blue Sky Landscape, Star Wars prequels versus Disney Star Wars. So Rogue One was probably the best.
Yeah, Rogue One has always been my favorite one.
And The Force Awakens, it gave that trilogy a chance. I actually liked The Force Awakens. It wasn't perfect, but I liked it. But it turned to shit with The Last Jedi, and the last movie had all these ideas that got thrown out and all these new ideas that got thrown in.
It was a car crash.
Just a jumbled mess of trying to put the story together. But it had a chance with The Force Awakens. I very much enjoyed it. But overall, I would say Rogue One, The Force Awakens, and The Mandalorian are great Disney Star Wars. But other than
Endor, I
that,
also really like,
it's been
having
pretty
seen
hit
that.
and
Have you watched Endor?
miss. Which one?
Endor.
Andor, yeah, I did watch. It was a bit slow for me though.
Yeah.
Like when I watch Star Wars, I want to see like
This is
Andor
very
was
much more like the
nuanced
political
and
working kind of things.
yeah. And when I watch Star Wars, I want to see laser swords and good versus evil.
No, I get it. I get it.
When it starts getting Andor's, and Andor's was very well written, but it was slow for me. I was in the mood to watch Star Wars, and I tried to watch Andor. I'm like, I need to be in the mood for like a serious drama. It was very well done though. I get that, but like do that in a different world. Don't do that in Star Wars. I want to see Yoda and lightsabers and all sorts of craziness when I see Star Wars.
Nana has a good question about the SQQ. I'm going to go grab another beer, and I'm going to let Mediocre talk about this for a second. This is a ticker that we have looked at on and off for the past couple of years, Nana. In fact, I see that. Look, there's still
is this like a leveraged ETF thing?
Yes, I'm gonna talk about that before I go grab my beer and let Mediocre talk. But I had bought some here. There's still an artifact left in my chart from when I had bought it back in July 2023, and I sold. I don't remember where I sold, but I'm not in it anymore. So one of these push-ups, Nana, I got out, and thank goodness I did.
Yeah,
it's gone from 17 down to 10, but I can tell you it's something we look at from time to time, and these ultra short leveraged ETFs, it's a 3x leverage. It's got a daily reset, and if you don't know what those two things mean, then you shouldn't be trading this.
Yeah.
So this is a product designed for day traders making a bet on the direction of an index for that day. It's not designed because of the daily reset for you to hold it long term. That's my initial thoughts, and I'm going to let Mediocre talk while I grab a beer.
Oh boy, I haven't played it in a while, to be honest. But SQQQ is a stock I look at it all the time. But it's 3 times leverage ETF, and when the market comes down, SQQ goes up. But you have to keep in mind that the market usually tracks and goes up. So you might get pullbacks in the market, but it continues up. That's why you can't get locked into this stock.
Yeah.
You know,
they even say in the prospectus that, like Tony said, it's day trade, because you have not only that it resets, but you have a decay, like, because it's using leverage and all these things and it constantly resets. There is a certain decay that happens to the price because the underlying assets are decaying away because of how they do the leverage and all that sort of stuff. So it's really risky. I mean, read the prospectus. They go into great details on these leveraged ETFs about what all the disclosures are, and you know, definitely disclaimers that you definitely need to read before you even think about even day trading this. It's there. I know people who, what they do, because they know that SQQ and whatever the bullish version of it is, the 3X bull, what they'll do, because these stocks decay, they'll short both the bull and the bear, and that way they cancel each other out, and all they get is the decay value from it. It's so, like, you got to be really careful with these.
I would just add, this is for very advanced traders, the SQQQ, and a lot of people see the index is running up and the market's going to crash. I'll just buy this and I'll get rich.
No,
you need to really understand what you're doing with this product, and you need to be really correct on direction in a short time frame.
Yeah, a good time to play it though. Like for me, like I look at it a lot. So what I'll do is, like, when CPI data comes out, if the market's going to move up, then I won't play it. But if the market's going to move down, then I'll jump in. But I get out pretty quick or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the fees on it aren't great either. So that even another reason to not really long term it at all. Yeah, because it's not designed to be like that.
No, you can't hold it. That's for sure. I mean, unless you got to know what you're up against. But those are my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Wow. We haven't, I don't think we've talked about it since are you still in it, Mediocre?
No,
I think we were all in it. We were all in it back here when it was bottoming out.
Yeah, but the market recovered.
Yeah.
look at
we
how far
haven't
it
even
went down
we haven't talked about it in a fucking year.
because the fucking market keeps going up.
Yeah. So someone's
I don't
asking
agree
about
with the
EV.
market, but shit, it
Someone's
don't stop.
asking about EV companies. Let's just throw up the list here. Lucid, Rivian. I owe you guys an update on all these freaking Neo. I owe you an update on all of these. I just been so freaking busy. I can't get enough content out. It's easy for me to do it.
Is there another profitable EV company out there
No,
right now,
there's
Tony,
not.
other than Tesla?
That's I mean, I try and cover these stocks so that if there is a breakout chance, I try and keep up with them. So if there's a breakout chance, I could jump in, Mike. But they're all fucking bleeding to death.
Is there another EV company that's selling a significant volume of cars,
No.
even though they're not profitable?
No, not Lucid, not Polestar, not Rivian, not even Neo. They all suck.
Oh, really? So Neo is a Chinese company, right?
I mean, I want any one of them.
And they're not selling a butt ton of cars in China?
No, Neo's a very small player in China. And that's what people got sucked into Neo.
What's the big EVs in China?
I'm going to see if I can find the ticker here in a second.
What is it, Baidu or something like that?
Yeah, I think I have the ticker up here.
Yeah.
People got sucked into Neo and they're just bag holding it. And guys, Neo's a very tiny player in China. I'm going to tell you. It's big over here for whatever reason. I think because probably Zach Morris. What's his name? Is that it? Zach Morris?
You'd know more than I would.
The pumper that got arrested.
Oh yeah,
I bet you he pumped Neo. There's no reason for this, but I think this is Baidu here.
I can't believe those guys didn't go to jail. I cannot believe it.
Well, they're still trying, but it's unlikely they'll escape the SEC fine. So at least they'll get their money taken from them, if anything.
DYDDY.
Yeah. I'm not really playing any of these EV companies long or short, except for Tesla. I got in after the whole thing about their deliveries being under. So it's only a short-term thing because I think that their earnings is going to underperform as well. And then I can hop out of that. But other than that, I'm not aware of any of these.
No, Baidu is BID.
Yeah, Tesla's a scary one, I guess.
Yeah.
Too short.
That's one of the ones that I keep the finger on the pulse of daily, but it's been mostly just kind of trading in a range. So I've been pretty all right with that one.
Yeah.
The difference between Tesla and these other car companies,
I think he's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
The difference between Tesla and these other companies, though, you guys, is Tesla has other products. Like they have the Tesla wall and shit like that.
And they make money. Yeah. That's the key one.
They make money because of that.
And they make flamethrower. They make flamethrowers awesome. Too.
That's one of the only products from Tesla I actually support is the Tesla wall. I like that.
Yeah. Guys think they're just a pure EV play, and it's more than EV for sure. I agree with that.
I just want to see any one of these damn EV companies give Tesla a run for their money, but Tesla's so far ahead. It
might be that these startup EVs don't do it. It's going to be one of the big boys.
But all the big boys are pulling out of the market. They're all scaling back their EVs.
I think that's just the auto market in general right now.
Yeah. There does seem to be talking about sentiment, and this is anecdotal just from what I see. There was a big push for EV, and there does seem to be some sort of dead spot about it now, where people are harping on the drawbacks of the EVs versus gas vehicles, and that sentiment seems to be very everywhere I see right now. It was not like it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
People are very neutral EV, where people are much more bullish about it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And you definitely, I don't know why that is, but anecdotally, that's kind of what I'm saying.
And you definitely see that in the prices for those vehicles, because even Tesla, you look at the used market for those Teslas, and that's not anywhere where it used to be. It's completely collapsed.
This is outdated and it doesn't have, I haven't updated it for a couple quarters, but they have market cap and production number of units. I mean, Tesla's at 1.8 million when I updated this. NIO's at 150,000. Not even in the same.
You know what? I've seen a couple of Polestar cars driving around where I live. They're nice looking vehicles.
We have a
isn't bad on its deliveries.
They do make a pretty vehicle. I don't know if it's any good.
We have a Polestar dealership here and a Rivian, and they're both great vehicles. I'd love to see them.
I haven't seen any Polestars, but I've seen some Rivians driving around here.
I see them a lot. I see them both a lot. So yeah, one of these days, I will update all of my EV. I think maybe at this point it's easier just to do one video and talk about all of them, but
yeah,
they're all having a hard time. I feel bad for them. And the next one to go bankrupt will probably
be
Lucid or
have you been inside?
It seems like Lucid most likely. Because for 2 weeks now, we've been hearing they might go bankrupt. They might go bankrupt, and they've been liquidating their inventory, trying to keep afloat.
They're only making a few thousand vehicles. God, man, it was such a nice car. I drove a Lucid too. They came to Austin, and I made an appointment and went and drove their cars. They're as good as any BMW or Mercedes that I've owned.
I mean, it looked like a slick car when I saw it.
They're just so freaking expensive.
So would you say?
Yeah.
So what is it about the Tesla that makes them stand out comparably then? Like why does Tesla have such a big market share if these are making such a nice car? Is it
cheaper and charging network?
Yeah, the charging network price, first mover advantage, and they have the facilities to be able to build them and distribute them just about anywhere they want to.
I'm with Steven on this one.
I'm pretty sure Ford has been pulling back on their sales too, though.
But they're ahead of everybody else in the American market as far as.
I don't know, Steven.
Yeah, I find Ford as a legacy automaker. I don't know if this is going to cause some debate, but I find they're the most nimble. And they make the best vehicles.
I also think that where we're moving after this whole EV thing, I think we're just, because of the amount, like having listened to people like Doomberg. I know the name makes people sound a little crazy, but he's very well versed, I've found, in the energy sector and things like that. And he was talking about the amount of lithium we have access to, the amount of future possible production of lithium and everything. And he says more than likely going a bunch of full EV cars is not likely to have the best impact. What is likely to have the best impact is to have some sort of hybrid vehicle. That way you have the most amount of vehicles with some sort of electric capacity for short traveling distances, like, inside the city. And then if you have to leave town, then you kick on the regular ICE engine, and that would be the most judicious use of lithium, because when you think about lithium, you're not just talking about the car batteries. You got your cell phones, your laptops, a whole bunch of stuff. So just as far as that goes,
yeah, I agree with that 100%. Until EVs have a powertrain that can go about 1,400 kilometers on a single charge, I just can't go electric. Yep. Because if I do a road trip or I go out of town, I'm taking the kids somewhere or whatever. I don't want the hassle of having to sit and plug in for 40 minutes or 35 minutes or whatever.
I'm not interested at all.
I just want to be able to go.
What did you say, Mediocre?
I said I'm not interested at all.
I mean, some of those EV cars look slick. It's just I don't have the money to just.
I tell you what, Mediocre, in a shit hits the fan scenario, I can fill up those 4 or 5 gallon gas jugs in my garage. But if
Damn
the shit hits
skippy.
the fan, I can't fill them up with electricity.
That's right. Somebody
Yep.
knows what's up. I can't do it, man. I mean,
and I love my
You guys
my
will
little
start building
Jeep.
bunkers now and doing all that, doing all that hoarding and getting buying military
Yeah.
rations and building a bunker in your basement.
Are
How
you
many of
asking
those
if I'm doing that?
I was just making fun of you a bit
I'm
there.
not a prepper channel, Mike. I'm not that crazy, but everybody knows I have chickens. I have a garden.
Mhm.
I've got my food supply secured. I have
Nothing wrong
I
with
have
that.
several weeks of always 30 days of extra food stores, long term. Rice, pasta, beans, things that can sit in the cabinet for a year. I have guns and ammo. I don't stockpile a lot of gold because I'm going to take yours.
Note to self. Note to self. Zombie apocalypse. Meet at Tony's place. Zombie apocalypse. Meet at Tony's.
Head down to Texas with Tony and he'll take
this
care
is
of
what I'll
But-
tell you guys. You ready? I don't believe that the power grid could support all the
That's another
stuff
thing.
that they want to do. That's number one. I'm in.
No, unless people smarten up and they go nuclear.
Even that doesn't matter.
and
The
people
grid,
calm down
grid
about
itself cannot do it. That's what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, it's re-infrastructuring the entire electrical wiring system. That's the delivery method.
Right.
So I
Now,
have
if you
thoughts about this.
Put
I
solar
like
panels on your
renewables.
houses. You don't have to worry so much
But
about
renewables
delivery
can't support
because they just
industry.
charge from their home, I guess.
But I like renewables, but renewables can't support industry. So what needs to happen is they should probably change building codes everywhere. Every house should have like solar panels on the roofs.
That
Supplies 80% of your power. The other 20% comes from plants, and industry supported by.
You know why
nuclear.
that won't happen?
Power prices would go way
You
down.
know why that won't happen?
because
Why is
because
that?
all the environmentalists just hate nuclear power for some reason, even though it's in their best interest to push it.
They're fucking
Because
idiots.
you're going to cut out the power company.
No, the power
That's
company
what-
just uses a nuclear.
They're not
puts
going
in the
to. They're
nuclear
going to
power.
lobby against you.
I'm just going to tell you, like where
Yeah,
I live,
Politics causes a lot of fucking
where
problems.
I live. Did you guys hear about that hailstorm that hit Houston and wiped out a whole solar farm?
I can
No.
I can
What
believe
happened
it because I live
Oh,
where
man.
I live in Kansas and that's a regular occurrence too.
Big news, Corex, 2 weeks ago. A whole, I don't know how many hundreds of acres, a massive solar farm just got destroyed by a hailstorm. And
No, but
What was it?
renewables are good, but they have to be supplementary. They can't
Right.
be your primary
What
source
was
of
it that-
power because there's too many things that can go
I
wrong.
worry about hail where I'm at. And on top of that, once or twice a year, we have massive pollen storms from the cedar.
Oh
Like-
yeah. When I lived in Arkansas, that was like
Every
I-
freaking day I go out and my black vehicle looks like it's painted yellow. Now, can you
There-
imagine if that's your solar panels up on your roof?
Yeah.
Now what? Now you got to get up there and spray clean them every other day to maintain the
Yep.
efficiency, or pay someone to do it if you're too old to get up on the roof. It just doesn't sound like, I don't know.
Hey, that's how we'll get the economy going again, Tony. We'll have all these solar panels and people have to.
Yeah, but the thing is,
clean
Tony,
them.
like maybe not everybody can do it, but a majority of the population can, and they can kind of take care of them. And like I said, as a supplementary source, I think it makes sense.
If
It takes stress off.
If
the
I
grid.
had some acreage, I will put in solar panels at ground level next to
I
the
would
house
say yes,
where I can
and-
clean them easy.
Mhm. I would say yes and no to that because a lot of the problems where you have like states that have gone really high on renewables, like say Texas and California, one of the big problems is at peak hours of the day, like during the afternoon and hours when you got all this sunlight, they're getting so much coming in from the solar powers that they actually shut down the regular plants so they don't overload the grid. And so then once you get to like peak hours where people actually demand power as opposed to it coming in from the solar panels around like 5 o'clock or 8 in the morning, they have to rev back up these massive, oil or coal or whatever have you power plants. And it's horribly inefficient. It's really bad for these, energy burning power plants to completely shut down, and then all of a sudden, okay, get everything back going again. Come on, guys. So it's one of those things that you got to be. I agree with what you're saying, but it also has to be tediously planned out because you don't want too much.
And you got to have storage.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Are you in Austin, Tony?
I'm in Austin. Yeah. I have experimented with.
Are you a Rogan fan?
Yeah, I've met Joe Rogan. I hung out with him down on 6th Street one night.
Nice.
Like you've been to his comedy club and everything?
Yeah.
Isn't that that is so cool.
I remember before he moved here when he would fly in and do shows here. That's where I actually, the night I met him, he was with what's his name, the conspiracy theory radio show host that also lives here.
Alex Jones.
Yeah. All right. All right. Here was
Alex
the night.
Jones.
Here was the night down on 6th Street.
That's why he's
It
supporting
was
AMC.
Joe Rogan,
Talking about
Alex Jones, and the guy that owns the Fleshlight.
Boy, what a group.
Oh, wow.
And the guy that owned the Fleshlight
that
had his
sounds like a
chicks
party.
with him. You know, he always has a little entourage. That was an interesting night downtown Austin, let me tell you.
Oh my goodness. That would be.
I have to say my favorite episode.
What was Rogan and Jones like in real life? Pretty guys.
Very chill. Both of them very chill.
Awesome.
I have to say my favorite.
Big fan of him. Listen to his podcast.
I'm going to reach out to him one of these days and see if we can do something together. But he probably don't remember me. I'm going to be honest. I was a peon and I remain a peon in his world.
Well, yeah, send him a Discord invite so you'll know. And get him on the show, Tony. That'd be great. You can get Rogan on here. We'll definitely up his profile a bit with the hundreds and hundreds of
dozens and dozens
of
new viewers.
Oh yeah, it'll be great. It'll be good for Rogan's career to be on here.
RA wants to talk about selling. RA wants to talk about selling covered calls. We love that strategy, RA. In fact, every Monday, every weekend, we're talking about our plan of what we're already talking about it today, right? Mediocre, what we're going to do next week.
Oh yeah.
I mentioned that in one of my videos this week that I had sold covered calls on my position. And Corax, the funny thing was I got a comment on that video. Do you even own any AMC? I'm like, did you watch the video? Like I said, I just sold covered calls, which would imply, that I own shares.
I mean, unless you're selling naked calls.
Watch the damn videos, guys, before you comment, or I'm just going to ignore you.
I like RA. RA knows what's up. I'm selling calls on AMC.
We sold $3 covered calls, which at the moment we were selling the Mediocre on Monday, it was like at what, $298 the stock. But and that felt a little nerve-wracking selling a call so close to the strike price. But we were also like, look, this dilution's not done. It's not going to be done this week. The most likely outcome is the price will go down.
What happened?
we got great premium on those. It was just pennies though, Mediocre, right?
Just pennies.
Just pennies.
Comments. We
Don't listen to us if you want to. We'll just teach you how to make pennies.
Well, I will put on my super AMC bull hat about cover calls, and I will say cover calls are risky. And my opinion on it is there is a point in time where AMC gets marked up, and the price doesn't come back down. If the box office continues to recover, so there is risk there. But I think if you take some calculated risk,
I'm going to say this, Mike. I'm going to say this. I had the same thought from 2021 till 2023, and I had a large position in AMC, and all that fucking time I did not sell covered calls because I was worried about the run up. What if I miss the run up and my shares get taken away? I had to change. The strategy, Mike. After the reverse split,
the way I did it was I was selling way out of the money calls to get.
I sell right at the money, and I don't care.
Well,
I sell $3 calls for next week.
I'd even suggest is
and everyone's strategy is different, but that's where the difference.
And if you,
Mike,
so I will sell small.
Mike, if you want my shares, Mike,
if
if you want my shares, I'll sell them to you. How's that?
Look, Mike, you're right. You're
how
right,
much?
Mike. Everybody has different strategies. First of all, don't fucking trade options if you don't know what you're doing. First of all,
I'll be happy to sell you my shares, Mike. Don't worry about it.
The best way that gives you nimbleness if you're
For how
selling
much?
covered calls would be if you anticipate a price movement, you just sell the weekly covered calls, and then that way you've got plenty of a short enough window that you can still do your future thing. And if you think that something's coming up, well, you've only put in for a weekly and that expires. And then if you see it bullish in the next week, then you just don't run the covered call.
right? Mostly we're doing
That's
weeklies.
That's just the risk for call. If there's a markup in pre-market or after hours that's substantial, then you could
lose your shares.
Losing a portion.
You could lose your shares. You're right. So you need to make sure you're setting a strike price if you're selling covered calls that you're willing to lose your shares at. That's all. That's it.
So like I have old shares and I have new shares, and on my new shares I know what my cost average is, and so I will sell calls on those above the strike to make sure I make money on them if there is a price run up. But for some portion of my shares, I won't, because I like I said, I believe there will be a markup eventually.
I know this is a very controversial topic for whatever reason in the retail community, because I think you're holding back the play. But let me tell you, mediocre. What's the right way to say this? We're
just going to say, I'm ready right now. I'm fired up.
Generating weekly income. It lets you sleep a lot better at night. As long as you think there's not going to be a massive run up, why wouldn't you do it? If you're worried about a massive run up, don't fucking do this, or set your strike price really high, but then you're going to make less income. So it takes, I think the easiest way to say it is you need to unplug from the emotion and the conspiracy that I use that word conspiracy tongue in cheek here, but this group think that the run up is tomorrow. Once you can unplug from that, then it gives you the emotional liberty to take care of your portfolio, to take care of.
So if anybody knew when AMC was going to run up, they would be a big.
So I'm going to say this.
Nobody knows when it's going to run up.
Mike, I'm not upset with you or nothing like that. I'm just going to say this. I agree with you that there are people who are deeply underwater and can't do what I do, right? But I'm not in that position. Okay, so for me, I sell out the money and I don't care. I just don't care. If you want my shares, I'll sell them to you tomorrow.
And that's the same with me. Like my basis is under $3 now, so I can sell them at $3 and not care.
Well, I think the key thing here to look at options is not just the strategy.
But what I'm saying is if there is a markup in the strike price, and say you sell a cover call for $4 and there's 100% markup and you lose your shares, then there's potential gains that you lose.
Yeah.
Now, if that potential gain is canceled out by you selling covered calls, say every month, that could be the case. And the strategy that I have might net way less of a gain than you guys are making.
And you know what our answer to that is, Mike? If you're worried about that, buy some extra calls. Just buy calls. Buy calls.
Well, that's why I started looking at the leads. Yeah.
So here's what I'll say. You say 100% markup, right? Which could happen possibly if we get, an institution who buys in or something like that, right? That could happen.
Yeah. And I think,
or we get, a restructuring agreement with the lender, something like that, right? Where the stock price could come up. Okay. But where do you think it's going to go based on market cap? Like, it isn't going to go anywhere. So for me, I don't care.
Yeah.
If it goes, hold on, let me finish.
I'm not in the big.
Jesus. If it goes to $4, for example, and I lose my shares, I don't care. I'll buy in at $4. I'll sell the $4 to $4.50. It doesn't matter. It might matter to somebody who's underwater, right? But you guys were all warned. If you're underwater, I'm sorry. I just don't care.
And the other thing, like if it runs from 3 to,
but it's not about being underwater. It's about if you're selling, say, 450 covered calls on an average position of 4, and it runs up to 8, you lost $350 per share.
Are we talking about the same stock?
I just don't think there's a scenario where there's no scenario where we're going to wake up where AMC.
Like, I just want to talk in reality
from 250 to 8.
we're talking ridiculousness. Right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, and I'm talking reality too. And like I said, the run-ups on AMC in the history, and it hasn't been for a while, but they're unpredictable and they happen quickly.
They're very predictable.
And then
that's where you're wrong, Mike. They're very predictable.
Oh, okay. Well, in my experience, I haven't been able to predict them. I woken up one morning and all of a sudden,
Are you reading the financial statement?
Overnight?
But mediocre, like the other unpredictable.
The run-ups in 21 and 22 have been based on the worst fundamentals AMC.
All right, let me walk this back.
Right.
The unpredictability last year was due to court decisions, which I agree that's unpredictable. The run up in 2020 to 2021 was very slow move up. You had plenty of time to position. It wasn't like you woke up in December of 2020 and it doubled in price overnight. You could see that something was starting to build. And if you're just selling,
it was a couple days. It was like I remember,
but there was a build up to that. You could feel it was palpable. You knew it was coming. I guarantee you, Mediocre and I and all of our group would be. We're already talking like the fact that Adam Aaron is pumping out this news about maybe the debt restructuring. We're already talking about next week. We might want to think about raising our limit price, right, Mediocre?
Yes. Absolutely.
We agree with you, Mike. There is a chance for run up, and we try and assimilate the news and what's going on to pick our strike price. I'm very rarely picking a strike price that's 2 pennies from the current price.
The only point I was trying to make, though, in realistic is that you're talking about 100% gain, which is unlikely to happen for one. You know, it's not. You're not going to move 100% in a week.
Yeah.
He's talking about 100% overnight.
It isn't going to happen, Tony.
It'd have to be some stupendous news, like AMC's getting bought out for $5 a share.
And I think that kind of
the price we are right now to wake up tomorrow morning and the price being $5, I don't think that's like super unreasonable considering how undervalued the stock is.
But that would be a movement that's almost like a 50%.
Mike, let me ask you a question. What's the market cap right now today? What's the market cap?
So 340 million shares, assuming the dilution's completely done. What are we talking about? 340 times 260.
900 million-ish.
Okay. So he's right. He added in. It's because he added in the dilutive 83 million shares, right? Which is what I do. Yeah. Because most people aren't doing that. And they'll tell you, oh, the market cap's 600 million or whatever. And it's not. It's close to $1 billion. So I agree with you. It is a little undervalued right now. But they've kept the market cap around $1 billion the whole time, since almost $12.
Yes.
So that's the only point I'm trying to make.
Which I think is an absurdly low market.
I agree with you.
Based on,
but the market doesn't think that, obviously.
The expected, which is why I double check my numbers all the time to make sure I'm not crazy.
I agree with you.
But in my opinion, like there's so much retail involvement. I think the price gets marked up extremely rapidly, and they try to, like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there's options and there's big money involved. So I think they're going to mark up the price when it suits them, when it suits institutional buyers, at a very rapid pace to prevent, not so much to prevent, but to benefit the institutions and the big buyers that are involved in the play.
Mike, I'm going to close this out. A lot of mediocre Mike's up
after hours.
I'm going to close this out by saying I think we would all agree that it's a possibility, but some of us think that the probability is low enough that we can have a reasonable strategy with reasonable strike prices to capture premium for months and have minimal risk.
And I'm not saying AMC is going to 100,000. I'm saying it's going to a reasonable fundamental value.
Hey,
and I think when it gets marked up, it gets marked up very quickly.
If there was something happening where it started running up to 1,000, I can just buy some shares. It's not a big deal.
I feel like
I don't believe in that.
That's the problem, right? Like retail's not buying this right now. I don't feel like retail's buying this at the moment.
But mediocre. What he's saying is that there's some cataclysmic event, like an announcement comes out that someone bought in big, then it could jump. It could jump considerably overnight.
Well, I think that's what underlies both your guys' plays is that
especially
there's a
with how small
catalyst.
the market cap is.
There's a catalyst underlying both
A large
plays.
institutional investor like this is cheap enough. I see big returns here. That could jump the price up.
We don't disagree, Mike. We just think it would be
during
slower and
normal
easier to identify. But there could be an overnight announcement. 100%, there could be.
And that's just the opinion and the theory that I have on how it's
and that
going
is
to play out. And I could be 100%,
that is the theory
that's how I see it. So that's where I see risk in covered calls. I sell them myself, but
you sell higher strike prices.
I sell only small positions of them. I'm not selling every share I have in covered calls weekly. And that might not be the same as what you guys are doing. That's fine. That's just kind of how I
think it's a good discussion and good.
I'm more risky than most. I'll say that. Because I just don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. All right. Let's take Blue Sky's question. How can they restructure if they have CCC junk credit rating? It's been CCC since 2021, Blue Sky, and they've restructured numerous times. That's not a problem.
Yeah, they restructured in 2022. They did half.
Not a problem at all.
And way worse.
Unless a lender thinks that they are never going to make their money back, and they're like, "No, you're cut off." But look, it's been far worse than this, and they've done multiple restructurings. So I think it's very low probability, almost nil, that they don't get a deal done this year.
I think a deal is coming.
And I think the other thing is too, if the lenders don't restructure, they get wiped out.
That's the thing, Mikey. I agree with you 100%.
So that makes it even less.
They understand the risk, right? They know that if they don't help AMC, they don't get paid. Chapter 11 is not going to help them.
So if it's a company that's obviously going to bankruptcy, maybe they fight for their pennies and they don't restructure the debt. But it's a company that's on a trajectory where revenues are increasing year over year by double-digit percentages. And we have this 2024 time that's leveling off because of the strikes, but that's what's been happening for the last.
I want to take Blue Sky's other question and let Corex and Mike have an opportunity to jump in here too. And I see a lot of bearish people saying, "Oh, they'll never pay off the debt. This is a horrible company. They have so much debt." Guys, lots of companies have way more debt than AMC. It's not the debt that is the problem. It's the cash flow. It's the ability to cover the interest payments. You can have debt and be throwing off a ton of cash flow if the box office is there. And this company, based on earnings, the price is, I'm not going to say guaranteed. I was going to say the price is guaranteed to go up. If box office increases, it's indisputable that AMC is going to throw off a lot of cash and very good earnings. If the box office goes up, will it be enough to pay off $4 billion of debt in a year? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But the debt doesn't matter as much as the yippers on other channels want to tell you. It's not the debt that's the problem. It's the fact that they are losing money that is the biggest problem. When they get positive earnings, if they get there, and they get positive cash flow, the amount of debt is much less of a problem. And Mike, do you want to expand on that, or Corex?
Yeah.
So I'll use numbers. So based on 2023 operations, if AMC starts selling about 1 billion tickets a year, they sold 840 million in 2023. So, and the pre-pandemic average is 1.25 billion. So if they sell about 1 billion tickets a year, they're throwing off about 200 millions in earnings, and their depreciation and amortization is about $100 million more than their capex, based on the last call with Adam Aaron. So that's about 300 million in free cash flow, roughly, right? So if they're throwing that off every year, they can build their cash position by $100 million every year, and they can drop $200 million on their debt once it gets refinanced. So $200 million on their debt, say they're paying 10%, that reduces their payments by another $20 million a year. So it just all of a sudden their earnings start cycling upwards as the box office recovers, and they're able to pay off as long as they can refinance those dates
And the
out.
credit rating improves, which means they can renegotiate
and the
at a
credit
more
rating
favorable
improves
rate.
and the interest rates go down.
Everything gets
and so
better
it
with more
cycles
box
upwards.
office, guys. Don't worry. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about the amount of debt. I'm worried about the fucking cash burn and the negative income.
And that's AMC's problem. So if you're a bear and you think the box office isn't going to recover, I can't argue with you because that's your opinion. If it doesn't recover, you're right. AMC will be in big trouble. But if it recovers to a reasonable level, and it doesn't have to recover to 1.25 billion tickets sold, as long as it's like about a billion or so or over, they're fine. And they're throwing off positive cash flow and positive earnings, and their price is undervalued. And it will be more and more undervalued as the years progress, as they pay off more debt at that cash flow level. So,
yeah, I get it. Blue Sky.
those 2 quarters are just like they made 2.6 billion. So they made about 80% of their typical summer box office on 65% of the typical releases they have. So 2023 was still impacted by COVID and strikes.
Corrects, jump in.
You know, if AMC makes normal
what
box
the
office
issue
like
is,
3 billion,
like that I hear. with a lot
Corex
of
doesn't have a position in AMC, so let's get an unbiased input here.
I generally agree with that. Like the issue is like, yeah, they have a large debt load, and that's part of the reasons why their revenue is kind of not coming out so hot. But for the most part, their income statement, it's an issue of revenue, not so much like the cash flows coming in to be able to balance everything out. Really the big thing that I think is the misunderstanding with that question is that I don't think you're going to find a lot of companies that have no debt on their balance sheet to a certain extent, because it's just a poor allocation of your assets. If you have assets on your balance sheet that you could leverage against at a reasonable rate, that you're still making money, and then you could use that to grow the company, then you should allocate your capital that way. Saying that, oh, the company has debt, that's a bad thing. No, I mean, as long as it's being allocated properly, it's a good thing. As long as they can pay it off, it's a good thing. The issue that AMC has is they have too much of it. They're working to try and reduce it, and they're hoping revenues will go up in the future. But like, just debt in and of itself is not a bad thing.
Can I be blunt for 1 second?
I'd love it.
Go for it.
You know where all this talk is coming from? It's coming from two camps. The people that hate Adam Aaron and they want the company to fail, even though they claim to be stockholders. Oh, the debt's too much. They'll never pay it off. They might never pay it off, but it doesn't matter if they're cash flow positive.
I don't think they'll ever pay it off, and there's no reason to.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. These people that are telling you this shit don't fucking understand finance. First of all, I've never seen them go through a balance sheet or a cash flow statement, not one damn time. Not one damn time. So that's one camp. I call them the emotional crybabies that have never read a financial statement. And I challenge them to do it. Start covering it on a quarterly basis. Number two, the other camp is YouTubers who cover a stock that has no debt and a large amount of cash. And so that is the only thing that they have positive going for them, is they're covering a stock that has no debt and a lot of cash, which is a great thing. But what they won't tell you is that is actually penalizing their company. All that cash and no debt is penalizing their stock because of return on invested capital. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that more and break it down this weekend, because they refuse to talk about it.
And if they had leveraged their balance sheet just a little bit, nothing too insane, they could add that to whatever growth or
they want to brag that we're not beholden to lenders. You're penalizing your effing company. I get it. It's good in a time like this, maybe to not have debt. Point. It's a good talking point, but it's misdirection. And it shows me that this person doesn't really understand finance. Some debt is reasonable.
I would add this too. Even if you gave AMC $4.5 billion right now, they would probably only pay off about $2.5 billion of debt and use the rest to buy more profitable theaters and put more.
Oh boy, that's gonna
keep $2 billion on the balance sheet.
Tony,
that's gonna send people in a tizzy, Mike, if that happened.
Oh yeah, because it's because their debt ratio is fine at about 2.5
Yeah.
billion. At 4.5 billion,
And
it's
that's
too
what
high.
people don't really
That's-
talk about.
and
is
it's eating into
That's
earnings.
what people don't talk about. Some debt is good as long as it's managed. Now, AMC's overextended at the moment, no doubt. But they
Tony, what do
took
you
on
know
that.
about business, huh?
What do I know about business? Not a damn thing. Mediocre. Never owned one. Never owned 2, 3, or 4 or 5. I've had some that didn't work out. I have some that are going good. But yeah, I know a few things about finance.
I would go farther and say a lot of these people who say this, they think that a company is managed like like their own personal finances, and they're a little skittish of a company having debt because they weren't exactly a great manager of it. So they think that a company should operate like their household, and companies just don't work like that. If you want to grow and expand the company and bring in new revenue sources, it costs money. You have assets that you can use to back it up to get that cash to grow the company.
Look, I would bet you $10,000 if you go to a CPA with your small business and he sees that you have a ton of cash on your balance sheet and no debt, the first thing he's going to say is, we need to figure out how to go get you some loans and grow your business.
Yep.
Almost 100% that a CPA would tell you that.
At 5 billion in revenue, GameStop should have
They should.
On their balance
It's just a convenient talking point for them to dance around the fact that their management is not doing anything productive with that cash on the balance sheet. It's a misdirection. And so those people want to throw stones at AMC for having debt.
AMC doesn't have,
I don't buy it.
They have too
I don't
much.
buy it.
Yeah, and I'm bullish AMC, and I agree. They have too much.
They do have too much debt.
They need to pay.
They have too much debt for the current box office.
Yeah, at 2.5 billion as the box office increases, that's a reasonable amount of debt for them to have based on the revenue they would draw in.
Anywho, maybe we'll get a CPA and talk about return on invested capital this weekend and open some eyes. Nana Ape says cash is king. Cash is king when you're losing money, Nana. That's what he's telling you. They need to have enough cash to survive until they're cash flow positive.
That means the D word, Tony. Tell her what the D word is.
No, I think we're getting past the dilution. I think I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
But I think cash is.
I think that Q2 is going to be damn close to break even, and Q3 will probably make a profit. And Q4, I haven't added up the numbers for all the movies yet, so we'll talk about that.
I'm even less bullish than you. I think Q2 we burn about 100 million because I think April's weak.
You're less bullish than me on something.
I think Q2 we burn.
Let me pull up my numbers, Mike. I was looking at earnings per share. I forget what the net loss is. Hang on one second.
And that's solely because I think April is weak. I think we only pulled in about 500 million this month. Maybe a little bit
have
less.
Us at Q2 2024 net income. Yeah, I'm way lower than you. I have it at negative 9 million on 2.3
So, like,
on 2.3 billion box office. What's your box office number?
Yeah, I'm seeing about 2.15.
All right, 2.15 would be negative, almost negative 100 million. So yeah, I mean, it depends on where it comes in, and
that's funny how our numbers.
We'll all refine our numbers as we get closer to June. This is way early for me to be guessing. Way early.
No, and that's based on just box office estimates. But I think 3 and 4 have a good chance of break even to profitable for sure. Especially 3. 3 looks very, very strong.
All right. So we got some positive stuff out of the way. What else we got here? Questions. Manuel says it was a very interesting week. What's up, Manuel? For AMC, for GameStop, or for the market itself, Manuel? What are we talking about here?
I think he means the market. Jesus, that was a beating.
It was a beating. We got spanked unless you were short something or had puts, and thankfully I had some puts on different stuff, not AMC, although fuck, man, it wouldn't have been a bad week to have it on AMC probably either. I hate doing that. The most recent time I bought puts on AMC was when I was expecting that dilution on the 27th. I think I bought them the 26th or the 27th.
I will give that to you. I remember texting you the day before or DMing you on Twitter the day before, and you called it. And then the next day,
and Mediocre will tell you the same thing. Everybody thinks I'm making this shit up. Tony didn't really sell his shares. Guys, Mediocre, how many days was I talking about it?
Oh God!
Just to clear it up, I'm not part of the Discord or anything. I don't get.
Listen, he sold his shares before.
I just DM'd him, and he nailed that call for sure.
And he told me why he sold them, and I'm going to tell you why he sold them. He sold them because Adam Aaron's tweet, "Cash is king," which Nana Ape just put in a chat. I mean, that's why he sold them, because he knew.
Not just that. I mean, I had been modeling the cash burn. The tweet from Adam was the final straw for me.
Yeah, it was that you knew he needed.
If Adam Aaron ever tweets "Cash is king" again, I'm selling my shares.
You knew he wanted to add that money to the earnings, so he just, I don't know. I thought he was going to wait. I didn't sell. Others did. Others in the Discord did. I did not.
I hated fucking doing it, but I was convinced it was coming, mostly because of my spreadsheet, a different spreadsheet where the last month of the quarter, every quarter this year, I will be modeling cash burn. And I was discussing in my Discord and with Mediocre, should I make a video about this? Should I put this out on YouTube that I think he's going to dilute? Why create all the drama and hate? People already hate me enough. But everybody in the Discord knew it.
Well, Tony, you don't think we're bullish. That's the problem, and we are.
We are bullish. We just don't want to lose our capital.
Exactly, because you're only as good as the money you have. That's why it's not against Mike, right? Like, I have a low dollar cost average. So for me, I'm not willing to give up that dollar cost average. If I could turn a profit, I'm going to turn a profit. I'll re-enter. I don't care. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, and I'm sorry, you know what I mean? But that's just how I trade.
I will.
Yeah, and like even for me, Mediocre, I'm playing with house money, and I have been for a while. I haven't added shares until Ape started dumping really low, and I held through conversion split. So the shares I have left, my dollar cost average is a little bit highish. It's not nothing crazy or whatever, but it's all house money for me. But it's just my particular theory. I just think the stock gets marked up extremely quickly when nobody expects it. So that's why I'm very careful.
Yeah, see, we track everything.
That's just how I see
I could tell you,
I could be completely wrong, but
I could tell you my dollar cost average. And I track everything in the spreadsheet.
Yeah,
I will tell you guys. I'll try and do better in June. I'm going to start tracking the cash burn for Q2 in June. It's too early to do it now. If I see a red flag, I will do better about getting it out to a bigger audience this time around. But right now, I don't think that there's any need for them to do more dilution. If that changes, if my mind changes, if I get worried, I will share the message to a bigger audience, despite all the fucking hate I know I'm going to get. I'm so over all the dipshits in this play. I'm just focusing on the people that support the channel, honestly. And the people that Mike messages me every now and then. There's people on Twitter. I try and respond to every DM on Twitter. If you ask me a question, I'll answer it as honestly as I can. But if everybody else just hates me for sharing fact and financial based stuff, and I don't need all that. So I just deal with the people that really want the real information. And Mike, I told you, even though you didn't want to hear it, I told you exactly what I thought, right?
100%. You always do. And I don't always agree with you. And every time I have not agreed with you, I've been wrong, which is super irritating because I like being right all the time. But hey, you've called it, Tony. You've been bang on with it. And seeing this comment that you have up from Super Steven, when you boil it all down, that's the sentiment I agree with. That's my opinion on how things progress in the future.
I
pretty much.
I think he's being honest
You
here.
boil all this discussion down to like one sentence, and it's that. Right?
I think he's being honest here that they have enough cash to last the rest of the year. Based on my analysis, I think they do too. And I hope that they feel comfortable enough to get through the rest of this year without more dilution. If my opinion changes, then I will let y'all know.
Oh. Good. No, but you've always been. That's why I like your channel, Tony. Like you know what? Like there's a lot of personalities on Twitter, and I don't get down on them too hard, because even though sometimes they get numbers right, or maybe they're super ultra bullish, I think their heart's in the right place for some people. And some of the bears, I think you can have reasonable discussions with, and their heart's in the right place, but they're just bearish. But then you have on the outskirts of each side of that, you have crazy people who are just make no sense one way or the other. And you just got to filter through all that and try not to get drawn into it too much.
I try and avoid the crazies as much as I can, Mike. There are a couple of them out there.
A little more than a couple.
You just can't help.
You're married to a redhead, and my girlfriend's a redhead, so we don't want to avoid them too much.
I mean, that's the problem. Some people you just can't get through to. They just don't care, and that's fine. That's their choice, right?
Here's how I know they're crazy mediocre. When we say something, and they say, "All right, I know he said that, but I don't believe him." Look, guys, if you're going to ask us a question and we answer it honestly, and you say you don't believe us, you will never get an answer from me. You'll probably get blocked because you don't want to have a discussion. You just want to be correct in your little conspiracy world. And I'm sorry, I don't operate in that world. You ask me a question, I'll answer it honestly. I'll tell you when I buy. I'll tell you when I sell. I'll tell you no one's paying me to talk about AMC. I'll tell you that I manage my risk. I don't full port my entire portfolio into one stock. And I just want the truth out there. I want honest discussion about the financials. I want you guys to read the financial statements and quit making up shit. The latest, greatest bullshit theory is that, Mike, I don't know if you heard this, Antara wants Prop 1 on the ballot so they can take over the AMC board.
But Tony, the fundamentals don't matter, Tony.
Have you heard that, Corex?
No, I haven't. That's the first time I've heard that.
I'm going to
absolutely stupid.
I'm going to point you in the right direction, because there is mediocre. Help me out here. I'm going to be mean.
Just look. If you've learned anything from my channel, Tony, just be mean. Just be mean. It's what they deserve.
I don't enjoy the drama stuff. There are people making videos, mediocre, Corex, saying that Antara wants to take over the board, and they're lying to their audience, saying to them that I'm telling people how to vote because I want a hedge fund to take over the AMC board. When I clearly have said in plain black and white English, I'm not going to tell you how to vote. I'm not going to tell you how I'm voting. And I could give two flying fucks how you vote. I could give two flying fucks how you vote. I don't fucking care.
Tony, what were we talking about before this live?
Those same people are saying vote no to everything, and they hate.
What were we talking about before this live about the vote?
If they want to get rid of Adam Aaron, they have to vote yes to a couple of them.
I said, Tony, how are you going to vote? I said, I don't even know how I'm going to vote.
I don't know how I'm going to vote. I don't fucking know yet. How can I tell you how I'm going to vote?
Of course, Tony doesn't know how he's going to vote yet. That paycheck hasn't cleared from Adam Aaron yet.
No, I love it.
Can I copy your trades and your votes, Tony, please?
Oh, my God. I feel sorry for all of these people's followers. Like, you are listening to nut job conspiracy theorists that have basically not been right about one damn thing in 3 years, and then they call me a liar. It is the the amusement we get out of this shit is endless.
Oh God! It's
But
funny.
I feel sorry for their audience. I truly do.
I remember Mediocre DM me the other day, and he was like, "Are you listening to this?" And it was, I won't say any names, and I was just like, "Yeah, well, I think certain people that are on these calls, they're fucking crazy nutbugs." And it's not like I don't think there's corruption in the world. Like, I'm not fucking naive. I know when there's money involved, corrupt things fucking happen. I get it, but it's just like these people are so off the fucking wall. How do people take them seriously? Like they don't make any fucking sense.
People are naturally
Like,
self-interested, but that doesn't mean there's some sort of nefarious conspiracy going on that.
well, but like, look at Nancy Pelosi. Like, she's the greatest trader of all
100%
time. There's
corrupt.
obviously a massive amount of corruption going on in certain places. So I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think our
in,
politicians should be held to the same standard that our corporate executives are. They have windows that they can sell in and buy in, and if there's pending legislation on a certain topic, guess what? You don't get to profit off of it. Fuck off.
Or you're part of some legislative committee that deals with farming, and you buy corn futures.
That's a little sus, maybe just a little sus. I don't know.
More corn. It's like, yeah, it's nuts. But so obviously there's corruption and things are fucked up. But that being said, when you hear some of these people,
the funniest thing to me here's where I know where the
silly.
total like left field nut jobs are, the flat earthers. When I say pretty much every single day for the last year that no one has ever paid me, no one's promised me anything. I don't talk to AMC. I'm not paid for by a public relations company. Nothing. But they still say, there's people that make videos about me every day saying, well, I'm pretty sure he's being paid.
Well, I just got a tweet today that apparently I get paid 50 cents per post on Twitter. If that was the case, what the fuck am I doing? I'd be on Twitter all day posting.
I am under the oath of YouTube. I'm under the oath of YouTube on the record. You could take me to court. I'm telling you, I'm not paid by anybody. My wife says, I wish you were paid. But,
I wish I was paid too.
Stop with this bullshit. Like, what is wrong in your head? You dipshits.
I do this for fun.
I don't do it for fun. I do it to save the people that are listening to these dipshits.
But that being said, it's not like there's not hedge fund or Wall Street money that's on Twitter or on Facebook.
There's certainly people that are getting paid to talk negative. Absolutely.
Or positive. Like there's both. Like,
I just did 2 videos on Stephen Van Meter.
But to think everybody who disagrees with you is that person.
There could be people getting paid to be positive. I don't know any of them. No one's disclosed
I know
that to
one
me.
of them. I've done 2 videos on him. You want to know what he got paid on that one?
Okay, but Corex, the people that are getting paid to talk positive must disclose it.
Usually, yes.
And if you're not disclosing it, that's a violation of SEC regulations.
FTC, yes.
FTC, and clearly I know that, so I'm not stupid enough to talk about a stock that I'm getting paid for and not disclose it. Can you dipshits get that straight? I know the fucking laws.
If someone wants to pay me what he got, like I think it was about $8,000, sign me up.
I would take $8,000.
But here's
Corex. I would take $8,000 to talk about a stock, but I would disclose it because that's the fucking rule.
100%.
Here's an example of corruption, though. So this stuff is like I said, there's crazy people, but some of this stuff is true. So you guys all know who Hempton is. He likes to troll the apes and stuff like that. So he posted up some stuff about AMC's credit ratings. And Markets with May was on there, and she posted against them. And she's like, "You're a hedge fund that has over 100 million in managed assets, and you're posting incorrect information about a stock that you're known to be short on. That's illegal." And he was doing that.
I don't know that it's illegal though, as long as he discloses it. I mean, we know he's short.
But if he's posting incorrect
information.
Like it was like he was posting something about AMC's credit ratings that was from
I remember that. I remember that.
Upgraded already.
I remember that.
Yeah. So that like or if it's
I called him out too. I called that guy out too.
Yeah. Yeah, there is weird shit that happens like that. But like I said, but it's unreasonable to think that's not happening. But like I said, you hear some of these people on space calls, and it's like aliens are influencing the president. Causing
Here's the
AMC
problem with
to drop. Like
all the
it gets to
most
crazy.
of the no voters. If you go look at their Twitter profiles, like their entire existence, not just AMC, but everything in their life is a conspiracy. So I give them I give them a pretty wide berth. I just block them and ignore them because that's how they live their life. Everything for them is a conspiracy. The Earth is flat. The moon is a projection. We didn't land. We didn't land on the moon. What else?
And it's part of psychology too. If you buy into one conspiracy, you're more than likely to buy into the next conspiracy.
All of them. They buy into literally all of them. And so I feel sorry for them, but I don't entertain their bullshit.
But what you need is critical thinking. You need to look at the evidence. And sometimes people do lie to you. And some conspiracies have turned out to be true. But some are nonsense and bullshit. But you have to be able to weed through the nonsense, use critical thinking, and look like what's reasonable.
The funny thing is they actually think that they're being reasonable, even though they have no evidence.
Yeah.
I would agree with your sentiment there, Mike, but I also would suggest that if you agree like me, there's a book that you definitely don't want to read, and it's gosh, I need to think of it now. I'm reading it right now. Well, I'm listening to it on audiobook. It's Narrative Investing is the name of the book, and it basically goes narrative economics, and it talks about how we as humans, we don't really look at facts. We look at the narratives, and our narratives shape our worldview. So if you want to have your feelings about humanity in general be destroyed and crushed and by a book.
Yeah. No, I'll take a look for it. I like stuff that opens your mind like that. Like even what's like a Freakonomics. Have you ever read
I
that
love
guy?
that book.
That was fascinating stuff. When I read
Nana Ape says, don't pick on KC. Nana Ape, I can tell you that if he wouldn't make video titles about me or call us conspiracy theorists, he wouldn't get any comments from us. Do I need to make a video showing you how many times he's shot cannon fire over my way? Because I will. Mediocre.
I saw CSI was making videos.
Oh man, don't even get me started on that nut job. KC does it very subtle, like he'll, what was that video title? Mediocre, phony, baloney.
Yeah, phony baloney.
Look, if don't start no shit, won't be no shit, Nana.
This is the guy who thinks that shorts can't close it.
When Pirate Born or whatever that guy's name is goes on rants talking about me, don't start no shit, won't be no shit. Don't think that stuff doesn't get back to me. I'm not the one starting it. I'm providing my own due diligence. I don't start drama. There's a certain point where I'm not going to keep taking it and not fire back. So
I'll say
they can fuck off. Just stop the shit.
The thing
stop
I don't
the
like
fucking
about
shit.
That, though, is,
I want to say this.
And I have no problem
but even if
tagging
Casey
them
has
and
an
letting
opinion,
them know how
come
stupid
talk
they
about
are.
it. Be reasonable.
I just want to say this. Listen, KC should talk about factual information, not some ridiculous conspiracy theory.
Well, if he talked about factual information, he wouldn't have a fucking YouTube channel now, would he?
Well, the thing, I think with anybody, if you have dissenting opinions, come and
Nana Ape, that is a false statement. Right? He has never picked on you. He's just doing it. He's doing it in code, Nana, and I can read the code, and so can everybody else.
Nana, just have another one, honey.
Have a drink, sweetie. Let's tip our glasses and let's just stop. I don't want to make this live stream about KC, Nana, but I'm only responding to shit that's being said about me. I will never start that shit. So cheers to you, and let's move on.
Maybe you have a conspiracy theory that Casey's sending you codes.
I'm happy to make a video providing all the evidence, but I really don't care.
No, that's okay.
I really don't care.
I'm just playing around.
It is disturbing to me how much money he's lost people with his nonsense, but that's another story. Let's move on. What else? Someone was
So
going to
what's,
correct you were saying something and I interrupted you.
No, I think I covered it.
All right. Blue Sky says
So what's going
Hopium
on in
sells views.
Austin?
Tony would have a lot more views if he fed the Hopium daily. Absolutely.
Yep, it's the same way here. I don't mince words, and it shows in my YouTube views.
But I tell you what, I will tell you what. People get tired of losing money at some point and they start searching for someone that can be supportive of their investment, but still factual.
I'll say this, Tony.
I'm supportive of AMC. I own AMC. I go to the fucking movies all the time, spend a lot of money at AMC. I'm still realistic about the risk, still realistic about the finances. And, there are people that are gravitating this way because they're tired of losing money, listening to bullshit.
See, like I haven't and I don't have a huge online presence, but like even on Twitter, I've been in plenty of space calls and talking with people, and I seem to talk numbers, but I don't seem to get the hate. I'm generally bullish on AMC, obviously, but like I don't get in. Like when people ask me, well, what about a billion synthetic shares? I'm just like, I do not know enough about market mechanics to say whether this is true or not, and so I just don't talk.
I don't either, Mike, and
it seems
they
to be
get really
fine.
mad that I don't talk about it.
Yeah, I haven't had that.
You get more hate. I see your Twitter feed. You get more hate from the Bears.
Oh yeah, because I present them numbers and they just say AMC is going to zero.
Yeah, and they have a different.
Like, well, yes,
they have a different thesis, and there's
yeah.
nothing you can do about that. That's just opinion, and only time will tell, right?
And I'll say this:
I probably waste my time a little bit.
You do. I would never give them that much time. I let them comment on my tweets, but I rarely respond to them because it's not worth it. Why debate something that is opinion? What's the point?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm only out here.
I just like to present the bullish
really
case. I find
help people.
I find some of those discussions interesting because it's just like, well, what if the box office goes to 11 billion? And then they just completely ignore the point. It's like they'll ignore any bullet. Well, okay, if it does, Mike, then you're right. I'm just waiting for one of them to say that, I suppose. But I guess they never will.
They're caught.
You'll be waiting a couple years, Mike.
They're caught in their cognitive dissonance bubble.
Go ahead, mediocre. Yeah.
So I was just going to say this. I just want the people to know who are watching this, the regular people, and not the YouTubers or the influencers, whatever you want to call them. I personally don't really care about my YouTube channel. Tony knows this. I only come out here to help you guys, to give you my opinion. If you don't want it, you don't have to listen to it. Whatever. I'm content in my own little space, and I'm very happy trading in my space. And I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and ain't none of you going to change that. And that's all I really got to say about it.
Well, you're lucky because no one's calling you out on a daily basis.
Exactly mediocre. How it.
I know it's nice though.
That's exactly how it should be. Yeah.
Hey, Corex, I heard some people were saying if you don't like getting all the hate, why do you make a YouTube channel talking about a stock? Have you heard that recently, Corex?
Yeah, I get it a lot. It's like, what do you care? What I usually get it phrased as, what do you care about what I do?
Yeah, but your buddies over there on the other channel, like Tony, if you don't like getting all this nonsense from people, why do you keep talking about AMC? Can I just answer that question for them so y'all can replay it on Sunday? Get your clips ready.
Oh,
God. Get your clips ready, Mr. Vader. I talk about it because I can be respectful. I talk about it because I'd like to see the company succeed. I talk about it because I understand the risk. And I think there's a place for someone who can be nice, who cannot be hateful, who cannot denigrate people, and who can still be supportive of a stock for the people that are kind of in the middle. We get it. We get it, all you guys that hate anyone that talks about AMC. We get you. You hate anyone that ever talked about AMC. All right. But I like the movies. I would like to see the company succeed, but I understand the risk. People are down in the play. They're looking for someone who can give them, some information, fact-based, financial-based, and not be an asshole about it. The bottom line.
Because there's good people in this play that weren't necessarily told the whole truth. You know what I mean? And I'll just say that, like, there were people. Okay, there were people in this play who got false information when the person who gave them the information had the facts, and still refused to disclose the information. I mean, that right there pisses me off. I'll just tell you, that's the number one thing that pisses me off more than anything, when somebody has the information and refuses to give it to their viewer because it would hurt their channel.
Blue Sky says, if GameStop and AMC go bankrupt, what stock would everyone move to? First of all, you shouldn't be just in one stock, Blue Sky. You shouldn't be in just two stocks. You should not be in just AMC and GameStop. That should be a very small percentage of your overall portfolio. I want to see you guys buying companies that are profitable, have a long history of increasing revenues and increasing profits. Speculative plays, non-profitable companies should be a fraction of your portfolio. So what would everyone move to? You should move to profitable companies. Then decide what percentage you're willing to throw away, and that's your speculation money. For me, that's like 10%. 10% of my portfolio is throwaway money. If I don't make money on that, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to hate the CEO. I'm not going to make videos every day tearing people down because I didn't over leverage myself in a risky play. But I play speculative plays every week, but I manage my risk. And that's what I want to teach you guys to do. Don't port your whole damn portfolio in a speculative money losing stock. BBIG, Mullen, Troika. Help me out with the list, Corex. It's endless.
My goodness. MMAT.
BBB. People are doing stupid stuff. I get it. The MMTLP, the allure of oversized returns is, I get it, but manage your risk. Don't put all your money in these plays. A fraction of your account should be in these plays. And it juices your overall portfolio, which is safely invested in profitable companies.
And I would even go as far as to say you shouldn't put any into the speculative plays. The speculative plays that I tend to play are educated risk plays, like the play that I've talked about here, and I talked about it previously on Tony's channel is Kirk. It had fourth quarter. It had positive revenue. I'm waiting to see if it has another good quarter in Q1. And if it does, then I'll get into it. That is what I would consider a speculative play, where I'm sitting here. This company's already looking like it's got its turnaround and it's heading in the right direction. But these companies that are cash burners, money furnaces, don't make any money, constantly destroy your wealth as an investor, I wouldn't touch them with a 40-foot fucking pole.
And I respect that, Corex. I do. There was a time in 2021, especially, where the only stock anyone wanted to talk about was what had the highest short interest of the week. I don't know if you were around then, Corex.
I wasn't. I didn't really come until 2020.
But I used to get bombarded. Tony, what do you think about this? It's got 70% short interest. Well, first of all, that's not 70% short interest because they're diluting and you don't know about it yet. So it's probably about 20% short interest, or someone misreported the data. But look, guys, if the short interest is high, that's cool. Could be a short squeeze. But your first reaction should be, why are they shorting it so much?
Yep. Because
that's what I want to teach you.
There's a reason.
That's what I want to teach you, to ask, why is it being shorted so much? Once I understand the why, then how much risk am I willing to take? What percentage of my portfolio, knowing that it's a non-profitable company, they have a fuck ton of convertibles and warrants, and they're probably going to dilute me to hell, and they're likely to have a reverse split. Once you understand all that, then decide how much you want to allocate to it. Not because some person on Twitter or YouTube or Reddit said, this is the play of the week because it's got 70% short interest. You can get lucky. You can absolutely get lucky. I play these plays a lot, but I don't make money on all of them. And I have very reasonable entry and exit targets. If I missed the play, I'm not buying AMC at 50. I'm not buying AMC at 40. I'm not buying AMC at 30. I bought it at like $7. And I took my exit. I had a few shares. I had a lot of call options. I took my profits long before YouTube. And I would do that on each and every play. Be reasonable.
Yeah, I just want to say, Tony, if GME and AMC go bankrupt, I am putting my entire portfolio in BlackBerry and Nokia. I think those are the two.
Oh man!
Come join us over on Team
Bring it back to dang stocks.
Team
Tony.
TLT needs more foot soldiers. Come join us over here. 30-year treasuries.
So yeah, BlackBerry, Nokia for Tony's Discord and all his listeners. That's what Tony's recommending.
I've never owned BlackBerry or Nokia, either one. I had a decision to make in 2021 when GameStop ran, and I watched it. I was like, motherfucker, why didn't I get in that fucking play? And I quickly looked through everything. I was like, what is the most likely one to run next? And I luckily picked in late May, I picked AMC, and it fucking ran. It ran up like 3,500%. What a handout from the gods. And I took the fucking profits. And I had mostly call options. I have never seen my portfolio grow that quickly in a couple days ever, because I had a decent amount. But unlike Trey and Matt, I was selling my call options as it was running up, as they were buying, and that is why I started my YouTube channel. Like, what the hell are you teaching people to do here? You're buying call options when it's at $50? Are you crazy?
That was such a wild time.
Yeah. Like, I mean, they were fun to watch.
Yeah.
They were fun to watch, but they were crazy.
I might have gotten sucked into your guys' thing, because right before the run up, I was running the wheel on AMC, selling covered calls, running it back, running cash secure puts, running it back. Those were crazy times indeed.
And this is the crazy
knew about that.
It was wild.
This is the crazy we deal with, Tony. Put up Nana Abe's comment.
Nana, first of all, Nana, I want to say we love you.
Come on, man. Your money. That's all I gotta say.
We don't want to see anybody go to zero, Nana. That's not a great stake in the ground. I've watched too many tickers. People say that, Nana, and they all go to zero. And I don't want to see you guys keep doing that. I don't want to see that. That is really stinking thinking.
And it destroys you, because, if you do go to zero, imagine all of that money that could be deployed that you erased, and not just that, the opportunity costs that got completely obliterated, and you're having to start back over from zero. That's painful for your economic and financial future.
I feel like that is a motto that I see in many tickers, and I don't like it. I don't like seeing people willing to go to zero. You guys know I sold my AMC and moved it over to APE because I said for a year the AMC was going to get obliterated in the conversion, and that AMC would fall and APE would go up. I had to make a decision at some point to switch all to APE. Because I'm not going to ride AMC to zero. And then after the conversion, we knew there'd be the dilution and the reverse split. And it was inevitable. It was mathematically inevitable what was going to happen. And we shared that with your favorite YouTuber, Nana. And he decided not to tell you guys about it.
Nana knew about it. Nana had a specific one-on-one in my Discord, Tony.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
She knew
Anyways.
absolutely about it.
Anyways, there's no reason to ride stuff to zero when you can kind of look at the landscape of what's coming, read the financial statements, listen to what the execs are saying, and make some smart decisions. It might be against what your friends are doing. We get that. KC blocked me. A lot of people, all the pumpers have blocked me because I'm making reasonable moves to preserve my capital and try and make some profits. And I'm okay if they block me. But I don't want to see you guys get obliterated. Don't ride anything to zero.
Anyway, it's getting late here for me, so I'm going to check out. I got a server to get set up tomorrow, so I'll catch you guys around later.
Corex, thank you. We appreciate you providing a different perspective than we have and still somehow managing to be respectful about it.
Yeah, I try to be, like I said, I'm usually pretty hot and heavy on Twitter because I get it hot and heavy. But like you set me down on a one-on-one like this, I'm usually pretty reasonable.
If you want to see him hot and heavy and no holds barred, go check out his channel. He's much more, what's the word, vociferous?
It's definitely more entertaining.
More entertaining.
I also heard a rumor that Corax is buying 1,000 shares.
Hey, by the way,
maybe
Corax,
in 2025, we'll see.
Corax, I just want to give you a shout out for making a lot of lists on Twitter. I've been noticing that you've been getting listed.
Yeah, I've been getting on these suppressive persons lists.
Don't listen to this guy, and this guy's definitely paid by hedge funds. Hey, do you want to go on the oath of YouTube? Are you paid by any hedge funds?
Yeah, I'm definitely not. But if anyone's interested, Doug, you know who to call.
All right, my friend. Have a good night. We appreciate your time.
Good night.
Whoops.
All right. This comment you got up from Rob here, Tony. This is one that drives me nuts. Ape's willing to donate to debt reduction. If you want to donate to debt reduction, AMC's gross margin on concessions is like 78%. And so popcorn, it's probably even more than that. You want to donate to debt reduction? Go buy $1,000 worth of popcorn.
Rob, I love that.
Most of that money is going to.
I love the question, Rob, and I don't know the answer, but somehow I think that donating to debt reduction might be illegal.
But I'm with Rob. I'm with Mike. I mean, on this comment, let's go to the theater. That's the best way.
But what if there's no theater near Rob? What if he's in a state or a country or a city where there's none nearby?
It takes me an hour and 20 minutes.
Well, you can call. They do the Uber Eats at AMC theaters, and go. Once a week, go donate a couple super bags of popcorn to a homeless shelter in a town near you, and that you're getting a huge percentage of that cash is going back to.
Here's what I'm going to say, Rob. Here's what I'm going to say as an economist and somebody with some training in finance and accounting. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a certified financial planner, but I have some training, some education in this. I refuse to give money as a donation without utility. What is utility? I got to get some entertainment. I got to get some calories. I got to get some tangible asset that I can trade potentially in the future for a profit. I am not going to donate money to not one fucking single public company ever. And I would come out against anybody who advocates that as being foolish. Not you, Rob, but I know the people on Twitter that are saying, why doesn't Adam Nairn just set up a donation? Or why doesn't he sell silver doubloons that are worth $20 for $5,000? Surely a million apes would buy them. No, they fucking wouldn't. And the company would be ridiculed for taking advantage of people for doing such a thing. Get some utility out of your money.
Just go buy the fucking popcorn.
Buy the popcorn. Go to a movie.
Yeah.
Buy the stock.
Go to a movie, yeah.
I will never advocate for donations. I think that I know exactly who that's coming from, and I have no respect for these people. They're living in a very foolish world, and they might think 1 million people are going to do it, but you might have 400 people do it. just not going to happen.
Oh God.
Yeah, go to a movie. Go buy some popcorn. Buy
Get
a
your
ticket,
fucking
enjoy yourself,
utility.
have a good time. Love
Get
the
your
company.
economic utility.
Okay. Put up Steven's comment real quick. Lots of influencers were given the golden parachute and decided to jump out of the plane without the parachute. Sadly,
What does that even mean? Influencers were given the golden parachute.
that means that they were given the information, Tony.
Oh, okay. You're talking about that one guy that blocked us? We gave him the info and he decided to ride the plane into the ground.
Putting in Abe's comment up there, Tony. Let's answer this one real quick.
What if we all held?
But what if, Tony?
Hang on. My freaking chat is locked up here. What if we all held?
I mean, I'm going to be blunt and honest. I held all the way up and all the way back down. And I am not going to give up my capital when we couldn't even, it didn't happen. So I'm sorry, but I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'll just say that. But if you want the real reason why, we could talk about that too. You ready?
Because if you're holding, Nana, you're just an observer.
You're just an observer in the market.
The people that are just driving the price action are the ones trading. And it doesn't matter if we hold 80% of the float and we're holding. The day traders and the high speed trading firms can crush the price while we're holding because they're thrashing the volume.
Now I'm gonna throw a dig real quick because of this comment, Nana. You say, but if everybody held, then the float wouldn't be able to be traded, right? But your fearless leader doesn't want anybody to DRS either. Make it make sense, Nana. Not that I agree with DRS. I'm just using it as an example.
It is unfortunate. Someone asked me about another ticker the other day. I don't know what the float was. I'm just going to make up some numbers. Let's say it had a float of 20 million and it traded 150 million that day. And he said, Tony, how can that happen? You know, how can you have a 6x turnover? High-speed trading firms, day traders. It's not any sign of illegality. It's just a sign of a lot of trading. It's really that simple.
I mean, anybody with a margin account could trade several times a day. Just so you guys know. As long as it's over 25,000.
They want the answer to be, if the float was 20 million and it traded 120 million, then clearly there's 100 million naked shorts. The market don't work that way, guys. It's just thrashing of the volume.
And I'll say that. I'll say this: if there is naked shorts and you have evidence of it, I'd love to see it. But I want to see actual evidence. Like, give me something so I could physically look at it, not some hokamamy bullshit. Like, I'm done with that. I'm gonna get hate for this video, Tony. I'm telling you.
I think I kind of agree. I think the best thing right now is it's not like the stock has traded normally over the last 3 years. There's been all sorts of weird craziness going on, massive amounts of volume, and they can be explained through a bunch of things. But the fact of the matter is, right now it's 2024. The price is at 265. Is your thesis it's undervalued? Well, it's a good time to buy. Is there a billion naked shorts? I don't fucking know. If there is, great. Then, the stock price is going to go way up and I'm going to make a whole bunch of money. But putting all that aside, it's an undervalued fundamentally stock if you think that this, the box office is going to recover. And that's really all you need to know. And you can't prove anything else. It's impossible. I get it. The stock has traded weirdly over the last few years, but you just don't know. And putting all your money into something that's in the ether like that is extremely risky.
Mike, I agree with you, but I would add to that, right?
Yeah.
You know, when we did the shorts a favor from 72 down, they made money all the way down, people. Why? Because the stock was overvalued. Is there synthetics? I don't know. I don't know if there is or not. But I'm not going to trade on some hope that there is. I'm not going to do it. I'm not saying that they're not there. I'm just saying I haven't seen evidence.
It's extremely risky. Yeah. If there is, great. For me, it's like going to the roulette table and betting on black. And if it hits red, you get your money back at these prices. And if you hit your number and there is some sort of craziness that's behind it, awesome. You got lucky. But it's your money. You work hard for it. Make an investment in a company that you think is undervalued. And for me, I think AMC's undervalued based on the box office. So I think it's a good investment right now.
I'm with you, Mike.
But to depend on there being fake shares out there and billions of shares, and don't do that to yourself.
Hey, Rob, if I could find somebody that could answer the question, would it be legal to donate to a public company? I've Googled it. I haven't found the answer. But we don't see it a whole lot, right? We don't see public companies asking for donations. They'll sell bonds. They will sell shares into the secondary market. We just don't see them opening up GoFundMe. So somehow I think that would be frowned upon.
I think if you're buying popcorn in Walmart or Kroger, the AMC brand popcorn, you're providing cash to the company. You're giving them the ability to make enough cash to eventually be able to pay off debt. And I think that's the best.
I think that the popcorn in the theater is a far higher profit margin than in the grocery store, though.
But if no theater is near you,
order it from
option.
Amazon, right? Or go to the grocery store. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I still have like 2 boxes I'm trying to work through.
You don't want to make some tonight for the stream, Tony? And show
I went to a
logo?
fucking movie tonight. I went to go see Monkey Man at AMC Lakeline, which was
how was that?
Which was a good action movie.
Yeah.
Mediocre.
Little Bollywood.
But there's only so much popcorn I can eat in a week. I go see so many movies. Like there's some days I just don't want to have a bag of popcorn in the microwave because I'm trying to go to 2 or 3 movies a week. And on top of that, I'm trying to not eat carbs. And it's fucking hard. You go to the movies a couple times a week and you got like 6 boxes of microwave popcorn with 6 bags each. And my wife don't eat it either.
Carbs are bad for you, Tony. Carbs are okay. Calories in, calories out. But like you go to the movies more than I do, and I'm like more bullish than you. Like the next movie I'm probably going to, I think is I might go see Civil War, but after that it's Fall Guy. Like I just go to movies I like, but I just believe in the theaters. Right?
I love.
But yeah,
in a normal life, I would only go to movies I like. When I'm owning AMC, I'm going to go see every fucking movie I can. And like, and the reason I do that is not because they're making a ton of money on me from A-list, but I will restrict my calories during the day. So I'll be fucking starving.
Yeah.
And I'll go there and I'll spend $20-$40 on food.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I get all my calories. I'm contributing to the company I own. And I feel good about that. And I just enjoy the whole movie experience. Am I going to more movies than I maybe would if I didn't own AMC? Yes.
Tony, will you
But
put up Nana's comment real quick?
whose?
Nana Apes.
Yeah,
And movie popcorn is the best popcorn. No
it
matter
is
what
good.
anybody
But
says.
like, okay, so tonight for Monkey, I was going to say Monkey Tamer. For Monkey Man, I ordered a tall Modelo beer, which is like $15, and a large popcorn. And I only ate half the popcorn, but I still always order a large. I should probably
Supporting company,
just
Tony.
buy a kids or a medium, but the $9-10 is not a big deal to me.
So I want to say to Nana,
Good margins on that.
All right, what do you got to say to Nana? Mediocre.
I just want to say, Nana, I don't tell anybody how to trade. You guys make your own decisions, right? You made your decision, that's fine. And that's okay with me, right? If you guys choose to hold it to zero, you guys choose to hold it to zero. I don't really care, right? But there's other people who may not have the information. That's the only reason why I'm out here, and that's it. No hard feelings against any of you guys. I really personally don't even care. I care about my portfolio and just trying to help people get proper information. That's all.
Andy, Nana, just so you know, even the people that we talk to in our own Discords, not all of them did the same thing. Everybody made their own decision, including some that made the same decision as you, Nana. So don't feel bad. We're not dissing anybody. Everybody's their own person. Everybody assimilates due diligence differently. And the main thing we wanted was just for the information to be presented to people so they had the choice instead of being fed a narrative. Is that a fair way to say it, Mediocre?
I like it. That's a nice way to say it. I have no problem with anybody. I'm just here doing me. That's it. Whoops.
And hindsight's always 2020. Looking back, it's easy to say this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing, and everyone likes to do that. But in the moment, it's tough to make the right decision.
Mediocre Blue Sky says the popcorn in the store is just a brand name licensing deal. Mediocre, do you want to talk about this? Like, don't we own a popcorn factory and a chocolate factory?
God, I knew you were going to say that. No, Tony, we don't own a fucking popcorn factory.
Do we own? Are we planting a vineyard right now so we can create wine?
No, we're not. Tony.
I heard that Joker from Boston said, "Well, I don't know how much it costs to plant a vineyard."
I actually, for like store-bought popcorn, I actually did a bunch of research.
Actually, I'm glad Mike is here, Tony, because we could get
shipping.
Mike's perspective on this because he sees the balance sheet, he reads the
No, Mike's about to give us the real facts. I already know where he's going with this. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, after the shipping and distribution and everything, they probably make about 20 to 40 cents on the dollar.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Mike. And to Blue Sky, I would peg the profit margin on a grocery store popcorn box at about 25%. So, Mike, once again, we agree without having conspired in advance. That's why I like you, Mike. You have a good head on your shoulders.
You just do a little bit of reading for
Mike, can I ask you
10
a
minutes
question?
and have no life because you're invested in AMC and that's how you spend your spare time. You can figure this stuff out.
Mike, what do you think about the people that say we're going to make AMC into a fortress because we're going to have $1 billion in popcorn sales?
Well, I know who you're talking about, and I like the sentiment and the encouragement to support the company, but no. Like the U.S. microwave popcorn revenue across every company is about $900 million to $1 billion, and for AMC to get a 10 to 12% market share of that would be phenomenal. So I think I get where Adam Aaron was saying $100 million of revenue from it. That would be about a 10% market share of the microwave popcorn.
Yeah, I don't know if that guy's clued in that Adam Aaron said we're only going to make $100 million when we're topped out. That's his goal, $100 million in revenue.
But if you think about it, in 12 or 18 months, the guy found $100 million worth of revenue. That's pretty fucking good.
We're not there yet. We're not like fully loaded on $100 million, but that's just a couple bricks in the castle, Mike. That ain't a fucking fortress. Or can we agree on that?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, it's good bricks.
Every
Keep those
brick
bricks
counts.
coming
I
at 'em,
love
man.
every incremental revenue. I just don't like people exaggerating to people on video in their socks.
I just want to know if Mike knows where the
Yeah,
popcorn
it's-
revenue is
it's silly.
reported at.
Where is that fucking popcorn revenue reported, Mike? Does Adam Aaron have a secret company where he's squirreling away this money?
No. My best guess is it's recorded in the other revenues.
Mike, are you lying?
Probably. Just because I'm on your stream, Tony, because everyone on your stream lies. But, no, it's probably another revenue somewhere. Because you could see the other revenue grow from the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter in 2023. And that probably is the incremental rollout.
Now,
of
Mike, when
popcorn.
I
So,
say that, they
made
accuse
10
me of
million,
lying.
20 million, 30 million. Wow. Stop lying, Tony. You gotta be. That's all you gotta do.
Guys, the popcorn and candy revenue is 100% definitely being included in every quarterly number without a fucking doubt. That would be fraud if it was not, and there's no fraud going on. If you think there's fraud going on, then hey, you're in a different world than me. It's
So here's my take too, and I think AMC getting into like beer or wine, I think that's a waste of their time. I don't think they make any significant revenue from it.
they would
their
make
brand.
incremental revenue. I would buy it. I'd buy an AMC branded beer if it made them an extra $1 in margin, Mike.
But at the theater, never retail. No one's going to buy AMC branded beer
Apes
retail.
would.
Outside
Apes
of
would.
Apes.
Apes.
What's that?
The investors would.
Yeah, I think it'd be very small. I think popcorn. I think popcorn and candy is more on their brand, and I think that's where they would be more successful retail. I think going into alcohol, I think that's
What I
personally, I think that's a
find
waste of
humorous and not very realistic is people that are saying that, I can't wait to see AMC wine on my grocery store shelf. I just don't see it ever going that way.
Yeah, no. I think they could expand their candy offerings. They can get into gummies,
There's so many
kind of candies. And I
wines.
think having that movie theater brand, I think that matches the brand. I see that. I see the popcorn.
You can't even the candy. Look, you
alcohol,
can't sell a $5 bag of almonds at 7-Eleven. They'd have to sell it for 10. It's just let them sell it at the theaters. That's fantastic. It's extra, but we're not going to see. We're not going to see AMC Cinema Suites put Nestle and Hershey out of business, no matter what these people on Twitter say. I just don't see it.
No. But they'll get an extra buck a bag.
It's
every time
beautiful extra income
I can
in
see
the
them,
theater.
Yeah, and I could see that brand going to grocery and doing okay. Because I think that the popcorn and the candy ties in with the movie theater experience, especially if it's a good product.
I'm just glad
haven't tried the
popcorn's in the
sweets yet.
grocery store. Though. I think that's a good idea. That's probably one of the better ideas we got.
That's smart. Yeah. I think that's very
Blue
smart.
Sky says if you spent all your time on AMC, just imagine if you dedicated some of it to other stocks. I wish people would, Blue Sky. The least viewed videos that my channel has received in the last year were some of the biggest winners. How do I make that compute? I talked about a lot of profitable blue chip companies that were on the down and outs, that were beaten down on price, and they've all had fantastic returns, and nobody watches the videos. I don't know what to do. Like, it takes me more time to make a good due diligence video on a profitable blue chip company that's a value play. I might spend 2 days to make a 10-minute video, including all the work and research I put into it. Whereas I can make an AMC video in an hour and I'll get 200 views or 3,000 views. I'd love to have a channel where you guys want to learn about risk-free plays, relatively risk-free.
I was just going to say, Tony, some of the stuff we talk about, they wouldn't even be interested in, like CSX and Ford, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I would love to have more people that want to learn more about that stuff. I'd make only those videos, but nobody watches them.
No, well, and the reason I research AMC so much is because I kind of got onto it, and I think there's outsized returns there. Most of my investments are like, I don't even do a lot of individual stock picking. I do mostly ETFs and total market funds. Like one of my biggest holdings is Xgrow, which is 80% equity, 20% bonds, right? But with, especially at the prices right now, and the reason I've been researching it so much and going over the numbers over and over again to make sure I'm not wrong is I think there's outsized return here at these prices, especially. And all the research that's gone behind it is to make sure I'm not fucking nuts, right? Make sure I'm not seeing something that's not there. And so that's why I put a portion of my portfolio into AMC itself as an individual stock pick. But I mostly am an index investor. So
If just for example, if AMC in August was at $13, it's now at $2. And I put out a, so you've lost from August, what, about 80% of your money? I made a Disney and a CVS and a few other videos at that time. Let's see how much Disney is up since August. In fact, I got called out by some of the dipshits. How dare he cover Disney? Disney was at $87 back then. It's now at 123. So you'd be up 40, 50%. But these dipshits, the flat earthers, want to call me out. Oh, he's covering a woke company. What is your problem? You like against making money?
Devil, I agree with you.
Disney has
CVS.
Yeah, Disney has its issues, but it's juggernaut.
CVS, when I covered it, was at 66. It ran up to 82. That was a good return. There's a few others that I covered. PayPal, when I covered it in August, was around $60. It ran up to, well, 68. That wasn't a super one, but at least it's not down 80%. I bought Target. I don't remember if I made a video on it. I bought Target at 107. It's now at ran up to 188, guys. But people want to ridicule me for covering these stocks. You go read the damn comments. Go search on Twitter for people that are yapping at me for covering these stocks. I don't know why they don't want me to tell you about these stocks. But the info's out there. My Discord knows about them. I don't know what to say. I don't know why people are so averse to safe plays where you can make a profit, and they'd rather hold a money-losing company down 80%. I don't have an answer for that. I'd love to talk about more stocks where you can make a decent return, outpacing the market return. Just watch the videos when I put them out. Support the channel. Share the videos. I'll do more of them. But if no one's watching them, I'm only going to post them in Discord because it's a waste of my time to put it on YouTube.
But that's what you want, though. You want to find those ones that are going to outpace the market, but it's not easy.
It's not easy. It takes a lot of time. And I love those plays personally.
Where are you from, Mediocre? You're in the Midwest?
Northeast.
Northeast, yeah.
David.
Winter's over for you?
What was that?
Winter's over for you?
Yes, thank God.
Yeah, good.
David has an excellent question. Maybe we can address this one real quick. He says, is there any particular reason why Adam or AMC, let's call it AMC, not Adam, didn't do a rights offering to shareholders at a discounted price? At least the price would be constant and wouldn't be manipulated to suit whoever. So here's what I know about the rights offering, David. They did consider it when they were thinking about doing APE. They were considering doing a rights offering. Unfortunately, the board meeting minutes didn't disclose why they opted not to do that. So now we're left to opinion. We're left to speculate. We're left to opinion. I'm going to give you my opinion. Now, there are other opinions that it was all a conspiracy. Yeah. Let's look for the logical answer. The logic of what I know about rights offerings is sometimes they're not fully taken down. So if the company needed to raise 350 million and they did a rights offering and it wasn't fully subscribed, then what? They've got to pay extra money for insurance, or they cancel the rights offering. They're not always fully subscribed. So I think, David, just my guess, that they said, we've got Antara over here willing to write us a check for all the money we need, or we could go through all the hassle of explaining a rights offering to unsophisticated retail investors and hope that we get a full subscription. I think they made a choice and they went with the sure thing. That's just my guess. We don't know the answer, but since you asked, that is my guess.
Yeah, and like from all the bears and the people that are against AMC, that is the one question that I second guess all the time. Why didn't they go rights offering? And similar opinion to yours. I think it was like they needed that money now because they didn't know how long the cash was going to last for, and they didn't, and the cash burn was significant, especially in 2022.
I can promise you that
so I think
if you go investigate rights offerings, there are companies that don't fulfill them and cancel them. It happens. And I think they went with the easy money, the sure thing.
But that is the good piece of FUD that I think the Bears should have been pushing a lot harder, because that's the one piece of FUD that I found was not unreasonable, and I thought that made me.
It's a good question, and I would like to have AMC one day answer that. I'm 100% with you. I don't know the answer. I've searched for what might be a logical reason. That's the best I could come up with. I don't know. I'd like.
Yeah. My guess was a timing thing, because who knows how quickly they could fulfill it, and they needed the cash. Then they were precarious in December of 2022. Like they were on the verge. If they had another bad quarter and they didn't get cash, they were.
I would like to get an answer to that question from them directly.
Yeah.
So I don't have to speculate.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't think Adam would have answered that if I asked him.
I bet he would. I bet he would. I bet if someone asked him in person, I bet he would answer it.
Think so?
And I would bet money that my answer would be what he says. But
well, if you look at all the interviews he did over CinemaCon and all this talk of bankruptcy, and all these interviewers are like, just go bankrupt to solve all your problems. And he's adamant about not going bankrupt because it would hurt investors and everyone else. Like, for all the guys that hate him, and I get he's his own person, he's self-interested. I really think he's got an ego, and everyone has predicted his doom, and retail helped him out. And I think he takes, number one, he takes some responsibility for that. And number two, he doesn't want the last company he runs to go bankrupt. So he is going all in on making sure that doesn't happen.
I think
it's part a sympathy thing, because he's like, these guys got me out of this mess. And I think it's part an ego thing. He's a big Harvard businessman, and I'm going to make this work.
I think all CEOs are like that, Mike. All CEOs are very A-type personalities. They want to be winners. 100%. And even though he's old, I think he wants to stick around at least to see this company through to profitability.
Yeah, he wants to go back to every piece of crappy article and all the bullshit that was said about him. And
you don't want to end your career as a CEO with your legacy being you fucked up.
he wants to look back at all these people that have been saying you're an idiot and be like, no, you're the idiots. I think there's that, like that fire, from what I've seen, like that's still in them. And I think there's also a bit of sympathetic attachment to the people that saved the company.
I don't know about that, but I'll allow you to have the opinion. I think he just wants to win. I think he wants to win.
Yeah.
I hope he's.
That's definitely.
I hope he's sympathetic. Yeah. I don't know if that is true.
Steven's comment is funny as hell. Oh man.
I think there's some there, Steven, even though you disagree. I think the best of people.
I don't think he disagrees with you, Mike.
I wish I had the Hey Kool-Aid bumper ready for that moment, mediocre, but all right. My wife just got home from work. Hey, what took you so long? What took you so long? You texted me and I didn't see a text.
She was busy.
Oh, she texted me. She texted me at 12:58 a.m. We had a patient here late. Then had to clean the hospital and finish records, stuff like that. All right. I'll forgive her, I guess. Saving lives. All right, gentlemen, thank you for your time tonight. What a fucking week we just finished. Mediocre, are you down for doing another one of these one day this weekend? Not every day this weekend, but Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, we could do some.
You're off this weekend?
Except for tomorrow, I'm working from 11 to like 3.
She's working from 11 to 3 tomorrow. All right. We'll take that into account. And we got some movies we need to go see too. So, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, thank you to the mods that were here tonight. Thank you for all the great questions tonight. Thank you. We love you. We care about you, the audience. We try and do our best to answer your questions as bluntly and as honestly as we can. Bring on a variety of guests to give you a variety of opinions. And ultimately, you know, I think, well, at least the three of us that are left, we all want to see AMC succeed. We're all shareholders. We all have different perspectives on what's going to happen in the short term, but long term, we all want to see good things. And what else? We might have different opinions on how fast we get there, but we're doing our best to stay positive and give you guys factual info. I know Mike focuses on factual info. I know Mediocre focuses on factual info. I do as well. And so, gentlemen, I thank you for being reasonable investors and willing to come share your views with people, because there's a lot of nonsense going on out there. Mike, you got any wrap-up thoughts?
Same as always, Tony, buy AMC. It's undervalued.
Mediocre?
I just want to say I hope I didn't try to offend anybody tonight. I just, that's my opinion. That's how I feel. And it's, I trade the way I trade. You trade the way you trade. And hopefully you learn something from this experience, and have a good night.
Gentlemen, I'm going to play the bumper music to go out, and I'm not going to hang around. So no backstage chat tonight. Thank you, guys. We'll see you tomorrow or Sunday or Monday.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Tony. Nice talking to you, Mediocre. You
Mike, what's your Twitter for people that aren't familiar with you?
At Mike VOGR.
Mediocre Trader 1 is the other one, right? Is that right? Mediocre Trader 1?
That's the one.
All right. Take care, guys.
Good night.
Take care.
Let's go. Yeah. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last.